Chapter 391. Yu Zhentian, Yu Weitian, the two of you aren't even Piktir Dolu. How dare you act so presumptuously in front of us? The golden alligator Doloa placed his hands behind his back and laughed as he looked at Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian. Damn it, golden alligator Doloa. Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian knew that they were no match for the golden alligator Doloa in the distance. They turned around and transformed into two streaks of blue lightning as they shot into the distance. They were ready to escape. Why are the two of you in such a hurry to leave? Don't you want to avenge the destruction of the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect? Spatial seal. Wang Kai's right eye flashed with a mysterious silver light as he spoke. His third soul ring, which corresponded to his divine eye of creation, suddenly shone. Boundless spatial power gathered and formed a transparent but extremely sturdy spatial cage that completely trapped Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian. Dong! Dong! Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian slammed into the walls of the spatial cage, and a dull thud could be heard. Their bodies were also bounced back, and their faces were extremely pale. Seniors, I want to fight Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian alone. I want to kill them to strengthen my fighting skills and nurture my killing intent. Seniors, please take action and eliminate the remaining members of the Blue Lightning Overlord sect. Don't let them escape, Wang Kai instructed as he looked at the three Piktir Doloa behind him. Killing two titled Doloa by himself was definitely an extremely valuable experience for Wang Kai. Alright, Supreme Pontiff, be careful too. The Golden Alligator Doloa, the Demon Vanquishing Doloa, and the Demon Vanquishing Doloa gave up on attacking Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian after they heard Wang Kai's words. They spread out and used their soul skills to kill the remaining soul masters from the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect. Apart from a few lucky ones, the rest of the soul masters who survived were basically soul sages. They were the backbone of the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect. However, they were unable to resist the three Piktir Doloa and were killed one after another. Damn it, how dare you attack a disciple of our Blue Lightning Overlord sect? Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian gritted their teeth as they watched the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect's high-ranking members being killed by the Golden Alligator Doloa and the other two titled Dolu. You two old dogs, you're already like clay bodhisattvas crossing a river. You can't even protect yourselves, yet you still have the time to worry about others? Obediently become the resources for my evolution. With a cold sneer, Wang Kai's figure flashed and turned into a shadow in the air. He charged directly at Yu Zhentian and Yu Batian. Little bastard, how arrogant! Wei Tian, let's attack together and kill this little bastard to avenge our Blue Lightning Overlord sect's disciples. Yu Zhentian, a rank 94 titled Doloa and the sect master of the Blue Lightning Overlord sect, spoke with a murderous look in his eyes. That's exactly what I was thinking. On the other side, Yu Weitian also knew that he couldn't escape. He nodded and a trace of hatred flashed in his eyes. Then, he crazily activated his soul power. Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon True Body. Their soul power surged wildly, and the seventh soul rings behind Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian lit up at almost the same time. A bright blue light covered their bodies, and their auras rose rapidly. A dazzling blue light flashed. Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian had also transformed into two ferocious Blue Lightning Tyrant dragons. Their bodies were flickering with terrifying bluish-purple lightning. One from the left and one from the right, they madly attacked Wang Kai from both sides. Your courage is commendable, but the two of you are too weak. Wang Kai laughed coldly as he looked at Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian, who were charging at him with terrifying lightning. He swung his arms and met them head-on. Clang! Clang! Along with two dull sounds of impact, Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian were directly sent flying by Wang Kai. They hit the surrounding space barrier and bounced back. Their bones were aching faintly. On the other hand, Wang Kai, who was in the center, did not move at all. Impossible! How can you be so strong? Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian were in disbelief as they looked at Wang Kai. Their mouths were so wide open that a fist could be stuffed inside. I told you, the two of you are too weak. Go to hell. It's your honor to become the resources for my evolution. Power of destruction. A black light flashed through the divine eye of creation in his right eye, and Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian's figures flashed strangely in the divine eye of creation. How is this possible? Why can't I move? As Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian's figures were locked onto by the divine eye of creation, they suddenly realized that their bodies were tightly bound, and they couldn't move at all. Go to hell. The fourth red soul ring, camouflaged, that corresponded to the divine eye of creation shone. Following that, the black light in Wang Kai's eyes spread, and Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian's figures in his eyes suddenly shattered. No. As the two figures in Wang Kai's eyes shattered, Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian also felt an indescribable sense of terror, danger, and calamity descending upon them. Before Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian could circulate their soul force to resist, they suddenly lost control of their bodies and the soul force within them. Their bodies were like the reflections in Wang Kai's eyes. They suddenly shattered and turned into black ash before dissipating into the air. Their consciousness also fell into a daze. This was one of the greatest uses of the power of destruction after it became a million-year soul skill, the Eye of Destruction. It could use the power of destruction to lock onto an opponent and kill them instantly. Even titled Dolua like Yu Zhentian and Yu Weitian weren't a match for the Eye of Destruction. You've killed 2 titled Dolua. You've received plus 11 million experience points and 11,000 credit points. The system's notification sounded, and a satisfied look appeared on Wang Kai's face. 2 titled Dolua had been killed, and Wang Kai's experience points were almost a third of the way to becoming a rank 83 soul Dolua. At this moment, the golden alligator Dolua, the demon subduing Dolua, and the 1,000 June Dolua had all attacked together, and the remaining members of the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect had been wiped out. Everyone in the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect had been wiped out. Apart from some soul masters who weren't in the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect's headquarters, the rest of the soul masters from the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect had basically been wiped out. The Blue Lightning Tyrant sect only existed in name now, and was no longer one of the 3 great sections. Ding! Congratulations on completing the 5th mission of the Dueling the World series, conquering the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the mission rewards. World Malice minus 6%, Origin Experience plus 600,000, Origin Credit plus 6,000, Small Plane Area plus 600 square meters, Small Plane Standard Density plus 1. At this moment, the system's notification sounded in Wang Kai's ears, and Wang Kai's lips curled into a smile. Chapter 392. After receiving the mission rewards, Wang Kai's origin points had reached 1.87 million, which was half of the 3.75 million required to become a rank 83 soul Dolua. His origin points had also reached 35,000. Once he used them, Wang Kai's abilities would reach a whole new level. However, Wang Kai didn't think that now was the best time to use these origin points. After destroying the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, Wang Kai was prepared to take down the 7 Treasures Glazed sect before the Heaven Do Empire and the Clear Sky sect could react. After releasing his spiritual power and confirming that there were no longer any living people in the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, Wang Kai led the Golden Alligator Dolua, the Demon Vanquishing Dolua, and the 1,000 June Dolua into the sky and rushed towards the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. Dozens of minutes later, after flying for a while, the 9 Treasures Glazed Pagoda in the center of the 7 Treasures Glazed City appeared in front of Wang Kai. Evidently, they had arrived at the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. As he looked at the 7 Treasures Glazed Pagoda in the distance, Wang Kai felt a little emotional. The last time he was here was a few years ago. Back then, He was invited by Ning Fengji to the Seven Treasures Glazed sect as a guest and married his second wife, Ning Yuxian. In the blink of an eye, close to 5 years had passed. After 5 years, Wang Kai was finally here again. However, he had advanced from a Soul King to a Soul Doluo, and his abilities had reached the standard of an exceptional Doluo. His identity had changed from a guest to a true conqueror. However, even though he was a conqueror, Wang Kai didn't intend to deal with the Seven Treasures Glazed sect the same way he dealt with the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect. On one hand, it was because of Wang Kai's wife, Ning Yuxian. On her account, Wang Kai didn't want to completely destroy the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. On the other hand, the original sect master of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, Ning Fengji, was loyal to the Martial Soul Hall. However, he had been placed under house arrest by the Grand Elders of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, Ning Wenhui, Ning Rongrong, the Sword Doluo and the Bone Doluo. Once Ning Fengji was rescued, the Seven Treasures Glazed sect could become an ally of the Martial Soul Hall. With such an attitude, Wang Kai didn't order the Golden Alligator Doluo and the others to destroy the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. Instead, he led the 3 of them towards the 9 Treasures Glazed Pagoda in the center of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. As Wang Kai and the 3 Pinnacle Doluo approached, 2 old men flew out of the 9 Treasures Glazed Pagoda. One of them was dressed in white, and had a sword-like aura. The other was dressed in black, and had a tall stature, but was very thin. They were the Sword Doluo Qin Xian, and the Bone Doluo Gu Rong. Golden Alligator, Subduing Demon, Qian Jun, why have you come to our Seven Treasures Glazed sect? You're not welcome here. The Sword Doluo's cold voice sounded, and he ignored Wang Kai subconsciously. Sword Doluo Qin Xian, Bone Doluo Gu Rong. As guest elders of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, you dared to go against your superiors and kidnap the sect leader. You colluded with evil people and established another sect leader. Today, the Martial Soul Hall has been asked by Ning Yuxian, Ning Fengji's daughter, to suppress the traitor, Ning Wenhui. I hope the 2 of you don't make a mistake. Wang Kai also launched a powerful counterattack at the Sword Doluo in the distance. Who are you? How dare you call me by my name? As he spoke, the Sword Doluo secretly gathered a streak of sword chi and shot it towards Wang Kai's chest. I'm the new Pope of the Martial Soul Hall, Wang Kai. Qin Xian, on account of your difficult cultivation, I can spare your life if you quickly submit to the Martial Soul Hall. Otherwise, this day next year will be the anniversary of your death. As he replied, Wang Kai also secretly activated his divine eye of creation. Spatial power surged, and a streak of spatial power condensed to form a spatial barrier that blocked the sword chi. The Martial Soul Hall poisoned Emperor Shuiyi, and Ning Fengji actually colluded with you. Such a person doesn't deserve to be the sect leader of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. Today, with me and old Gu here, your tricks won't succeed. Seeing that the sword chi was blocked, the Sword Doluo's face was still as calm as an ancient well. He circulated his soul power and revealed his 7 kills sword martial soul. Beside him, the Bone Doluo also circulated his soul power and covered his body with bone spikes. Senior Golden Crocodile, please delay the Sword Doluo. Senior Demon Fighter, Senior Qian Jun, please follow me to kill Gu Rong, and then help Senior Golden Crocodile. Looking at the Sword Doluo and Bone Doluo, who were ready for battle, Wang Kai coldly instructed. All right. Nodding, the Golden Crocodile Doluo went up against the Sword Doluo, while Wang Kai, the Demon Fighter, and the Qian Jun Doluo worked together to kill the Bone Doluo. Although the Golden Crocodile Doluo was 1 rank stronger than the Sword Doluo, he was old after all, and his soul power was only on par with the Sword Doluo. In fact, he was even at a slight disadvantage. However, it wouldn't be a problem for him to delay the Sword Doluo so that Wang Kai and the others could kill the Bone Doluo. On the other side, Wang Kai, the Demon Fighter, and the Qian Jun Doluo worked together to attack the Bone Doluo Gu Rong. Wang Kai revealed his Shura true body, while the demon fighter and the Qian Jun Dolua used their coiling dragon staffs to attack the Bone Dolua crazily. Faced with the combined attacks of three titled Dolua, the Bone Dolua also used his Bone Dragon King martial soul and transformed into a terrifying Bone Dragon to resist the combined attacks of Wang Kai and the other two Peak Dolua. Even though Gu Rong was a rank 96 Pinnacle Dolua, a defense-type Soul Master, and his martial soul was the powerful skeletal Divine Dragon, he was still alone. Even if the demon-subduing Dolua and the 1,000 Jun Dolua joined forces, they would still be able to suppress him. Furthermore, there was also Wang Kai, who was an exceptional Dolu. In just a few dozen rounds, the Bone Dolua's body was already smashed into pieces. His bones were flying everywhere, and his aura was also greatly reduced. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Even though Gu Rong used his strongest ninth soul skill, the Bone Divine Dragon, he was only able to withstand a few more blows before he was defeated. It's about time. Eye of Destruction. As he sensed Gu Rong's aura gradually decreasing, Wang Kai nodded slightly and used his soul power again. When Gu Rong was at his strongest, the Eye of Destruction wasn't enough to kill him. On the contrary, Wang Kai might have suffered a backlash from it. However, under the combined attacks of Wang Kai, the Demon Fighter, and the Qian Jun Dolua, Gu Rong's soul power, spiritual power, and condition had decreased significantly. He was now within the Eye of Destruction's killing range. Gu Rong's fourth soul ring, which corresponded to the divine Eye of Creation, suddenly shone. The Bone Dolua's figure appeared in Wang Kai's eyes. Suddenly, the Bone Dolua felt his body stiffen. A chill swept over him, and his hair stood on end. It was as if some great danger was about to descend. Dragonbone Shield. Compared to Yu Jintian and Yu Weidian, the Bone Dolua was undoubtedly stronger. Even though he was targeted by the Eye of Destruction, he didn't lose control of his body. His sixth soul ring flashed behind him, and the bones on the Bone Dolua's body gathered to form a thick shield with dragon patterns above his head. Chapter 393. It's useless. Gu Rong, become my food for evolution. Wang Kai laughed coldly as he stared at the dragonbone shield in front of the Bone Dolua. After that, he circulated his soul power like crazy. If such a defense could defend against the Eye of Destruction, then the law of destruction wasn't worthy of being one of the supreme laws of the universe. A pure black light flashed across Wang Kai's right eye. The Bone Dolua's figure immediately became blurry. However, he didn't shatter like Yu Jintian and Yu Batian. However, the Bone Dolua didn't last for long. After a second, the Bone Dolua's figure suddenly shattered in Wang Kai's eyes. He turned into black spots that scattered in all directions. Bam! At the same time, the dragonbone shield in front of the Bone Dolua also shattered. It let out a muffled sound before it turned into bone dust that dissipated into the air. An indescribable sense of horror washed over him, and the Bone Dolua felt as if his entire body had been enveloped by a burst of excruciating pain. It was as if every single bone, muscle, and cell in his body had been torn apart, and as the pain spread through his body also abruptly exploded into countless specks of bone dust that were swept away by the wind. No! As the Bone Dolua screamed in agony, his head also exploded. Brain matter splattered everywhere, and his consciousness instantly plunged into darkness. There were only 3 soul bones floating in the air, and they were radiating with dazzling light. As the main force, you have killed the rank 96 Pinnacle Dolua Gu Rong. You have received 850,000 origin points and 8,500 origin points. The system's notification rang in Wang Kai's ears. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. No. Old Gu. You little thief, I'm going to kill you. The sword Dolua Chen Xian's eyes instantly turned blood-red when he saw the Bone Dolua being killed by Wang Kai. He let out a crazed roar as his soul power started to burn, and his aura instantly soared. As the sword Dolua's soul power burned, the strength of his soul skills also increased. After a few slashes, he actually managed to cut open several hideous wounds on the golden alligator Dolua's body. He was completely suppressed. Although the bone Dolua and the sword Dolua were once rivals, they were also best friends. The sword Dolua entered a frenzied state as he watched the bone Dolua being killed. He started to burn his soul power. Seniors, let's attack together and help Senior Golden Alligator kill the traitor sword Dolua. Seeing the sword Dolua suppressing the golden alligator Dolua, Wang Kai took the lead as he shouted, "All right." After hearing Wang Kai's instructions, the demon subduing Dolua and Thousand Jun Dolua followed closely behind Wang Kai. They channeled their soul power and attacked the sword Dolua. "Little thief, you actually dared to kill my brother. Go to hell and be buried with him. Man and sword." Demonic dual slash. After forcing the golden alligator Dolua back, the sword Dolua suddenly turned around and faced Wang Kai. His ninth black soul ring shone as he slashed his 7 kills sword at Wang Kai. Suddenly, the sword Dolua's body disappeared and fused with the 7 kills sword. As Chen Xian fused with it, the 7 kills sword's aura increased exponentially. There was even a trace of godly aura. Man and sword as one was a special soul skill similar to the Clear Sky Sect's Great Meru Hammer. It was a self-created soul skill. It was a martial soul skill that was created and perfected by the Chen family. It was extremely difficult to cultivate, but once it was mastered, one could fuse oneself with one's martial soul to unleash the strongest attack. Under the state of man and sword as one, the power of the sword Dolua's attack was beyond the realm of mortals. It had the power of a godly skill and was comparable to the all-out attack of a quasi-god. In the original timeline, the sword Dolua had used this move to attack Bibidon, who had become a Class 3 god. Although the sword Dolua was killed by Bibidon in the end, his attack had successfully injured Bibidon. This showed how powerful this move was. The 7 kills sword was raised high and brought with it a terrifying aura as it slashed towards Wang Kai. Suddenly, the 7 kills sword's blade created a huge spatial crack in the sky. Countless rainbow-colored sword lights descended from the sky and shot towards Wang Kai with destructive power. Every sword light had the power to kill a titled Dolu. When countless sword lights fused together, they seemed to be able to kill gods and demons. What a powerful attack! It's really terrifying. The sword Dolua's attack had locked onto Wang Kai's soul. Even if Wang Kai escaped to the ends of the earth, he would not be able to escape. In the face of the sword Dolua's attack, Wang Kai was instantly struck by a sense of fear. A chill quickly surged through Wang Kai's veins, and his entire body trembled involuntarily. His hair stood on end, and he was completely overwhelmed by fear. Under the sword Dolua's attack, Wang Kai truly felt the threat of death. Even the million-year Xian Huang protection would not be able to block this move. If Wang Kai was hit by this attack, Wang Kai's soul would be destroyed. Ding! The system has detected that the host is facing an attack that cannot be blocked. Will the host spend 20,000 origin points to construct a defensive shield to block it? At this moment, the system's notification sounded in Wang Kai's ears. Of course. After hearing the system's notification, Wang Kai's face lit up. He immediately muttered to himself. Although 20,000 origin points was a lot, compared to his life, what was it? A total of 20,000 origin points were instantly consumed. Countless mysterious powers gathered in front of Wang Kai and formed a gray barrier. At the same time, Wang Kai activated his Eye of Destiny. Boundless spatial power surged and formed a spatial shield in front of Wang Kai. Whoosh! 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 Tens of thousands of rainbow-colored sword lights with extremely sharp sword energy slashed out one spatial fragment after another, madly attacking the gray barrier in front of Wang Kai. Under the sword Dolua's attack, the gray barrier in front of Wang Kai trembled violently and rippled. The energy contained within was constantly being depleted. 3 seconds later, the gray barrier in front of Wang Kai suddenly shattered. However, at the same time, the sword qi in the sky was also reduced by more than 90%. At this moment, the golden alligator Doluo, demon subduing Doluo, and Qian Jun Doluo all rushed over. They activated their soul power and soul skills to help Wang Kai resist the aftershocks of the sword Doluo's attack. In the end, they successfully neutralized the sword Doluo's attack. No. How is this possible? You actually managed to survive my attack. In the distance, the sword Doluo's white-robed figure also escaped from the 7 kills sword. However, his face was a little pale, and his body was a little unstable. After becoming one with the sword Doluo temporarily entered the god's domain. The price he had to pay to enter the god's domain as a mortal was obvious. Chen Xian's soul power had been depleted by 90% because of his previous attack. His spiritual power was also depleted. He no longer had the ability to continue fighting. Nothing is impossible. Old dog Chen Xian, since you miss your brother Gu Rong so much, I'll fulfill your wish and send you down to accompany him. Looking at the panting Chen Xian in the distance, Wang Kai's right eye flashed with an extremely deep black light. Chen Xian's figure suddenly appeared in Wang Kai's divine eye of destiny. Chapter 394. No! As Chen Xian was locked onto by Wang Kai's eye of destruction, he suddenly felt that he had lost control of his body. He couldn't move, and he couldn't control his soul power. If Chen Xian had been at his peak, he wouldn't have been controlled by the eye of destruction. However, Chen Xian's soul power, spiritual power, and strength had all been depleted after he used his ultimate skill of becoming one with his sword. He couldn't break through the power of destruction that bound him at all. In Wang Kai's eyes, the law of destruction started to surge. Chen Xian's black reflection started to shake violently. It became very blurry and started to disintegrate. Spiritual sword protection. Chen Xian gritted his teeth as he sensed the state of his body. He crazily activated his soul power. A second yellow soul ring flashed behind him, and he used almost all of his remaining soul power. As the soul rings flashed, streaks of powerful sword qi gushed out from the 7 kills sword in front of Chen Xian. With Chen Xian's body as the center, they formed a protective shield with a diameter of 2 meters. It's useless. Looking at the sword qi around Chen Xian's body, Wang Kai's eyes flashed coldly. At the same time, Chen Xian's reflection in the eye of creation suddenly shattered. Under the terrifying law of destruction, the spiritual sword protection in front of Chen Xian was like a thin piece of paper. It shattered almost instantly, and Chen Xian's body started to shake violently. Crack, crack. 2 crisp cracking sounds were heard. The 7 kills sword in front of Chen Xian also shattered. It turned into pieces of metal that fell to the ground and lost its luster. No! Without the protection of the 7 kills sword, Chen Xian had no power to resist the law of destruction. With a sad sigh, Chen Xian's body and his white robe shattered into individual atoms. His consciousness also sank into darkness. A gentle breeze blew past. Chen Xian's body was like a bubble. It turned into particles and disappeared with the wind. He was completely destroyed. Not even his corpse was left. Only a few pieces of soul bones were floating in the air. As the main force, you have killed Chen Xian, a rank 97 pinnacle Dolu. You have received plus 110,000 origin points and plus 11,000 origin points. Current origin experience 382,000. Required origin experience 375,000. Spent 375,000 to advance to rank 83 Soul Dolu. Remaining origin experience 70,000. 2 system notifications sounded, and Wang Kai successfully became a rank 83 Soul Dolu. Streaks of evolutionary power surged out and strengthened Wang Kai's body, making him even more powerful. Nodding his head in satisfaction, Wang Kai released his mental energy to sense Ning Fengji's location. Found it. With a thought, Wang Kai found Ning Fengji's location. He was currently under house arrest in his own residence, and there were 2 Soul Dolua guarding him. However, his complexion was still quite good, and it was clear that he hadn't been mistreated. The power of space, spatial teleportation. Silver light flashed across the eye of destiny, and spatial power surged. In the next moment, Ning Fengji's figure appeared in front of Wang Kai. Where am I? Looking at the sudden change in the surrounding environment, Ning Fengji's face revealed a trace of confusion. Father-in-law, it's me, Wang Kai. We're here to save you. The sword Dolua Chen Xian and the bone Dolua Gu Rong have been killed. Please give orders to calm everyone down. We're willing to take in the soul masters from the 7 treasures glazed sect who are willing to join the martial soul hall. As for those who aren't willing, we'll kill them all. We won't leave any loose ends. Please help us persuade them, father-in-law. Looking at Ning Fengji, Wang Kai didn't beat around the bush, and directly instructed him. Alright, I understand. Looking at the golden alligator Dolua and the other 2 peak Dolua behind Wang Kai, Ning Fengji roughly understood what was going on. He had a better impression of the martial soul hall. Sending 3 peak Dolua to save him was enough to show how much the martial soul hall valued him. As for the sword Dolua and the bone Dolua, even though they were good friends in the past, Ning Fengji only had hatred for them after they betrayed him. He no longer had any good feelings for them. Therefore, Ning Fengji didn't feel bad when he saw them dead. Instead, he was very happy. I'm the sect leader of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect, Ning Fengji. 2 years ago, the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect's traitors, Ning Wenhui, Ning Rongrong, the Sword Dolua, and the Bone Dolua rebelled. They went against their superiors, put me under house arrest, and seized control of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect. They even led the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect to join the evil Heaven Do Empire. Now, the lords of the Martial Soul Empire have come to quell the rebellion. The Sword Dolua and the Bone Dolua have been killed. I know that most of you didn't rebel willingly. Instead, you were forced to join the Heaven Do Empire. You don't have to worry about this. As long as you're willing to turn over a new leaf and work for the Martial Soul Empire, the lords of the Martial Soul Empire are willing to let go of your past misdeeds and take you in. However, if you continue to be stubborn, only death awaits you. Ning Fengji activated his soul power and shouted at the soul masters of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect. I'm the current pope of the Martial Soul Hall, Wang Kai. I'm sure you've heard what sect leader Ning Fengji said. I can guarantee that you'll receive the treatment you deserve after you join the Martial Soul Hall. Now, if you're willing to join the Martial Soul Hall, raise your right hand. I'll use my abilities to collect you. If you're unwilling to join the Martial Soul Hall, die. I'll give you 30 seconds to make your choice. After pausing for a moment, Wang Kai continued to announce in a loud voice. Hearing Wang Kai and Ning Fengji's words, the soul masters of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect raised their right hands one after another. To them, it didn't matter if they followed the Heaven Do Empire or the Martial Soul Empire. Only a few of the soul masters of the Martial Soul Hall didn't raise their hands and even tried to attack other soul masters. Wang Kai showed no mercy to these soul masters. He activated his karma power and killed these tough people. Very good. Everyone has made the right choice. Under the threat of death, almost all the soul masters of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect raised their right hands. With a thought, Wang Kai kept them into a small plane and gathered them in a black, sealed space. As for you guys, go to hell. Looking at the soul masters of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect who were unwilling to join the Martial Soul Hall, Wang Kai showed no mercy. He activated his karma power again and killed them all, regardless of their gender or age. Ding! Congratulations on completing the 6th mission of the Martial Arts World Series. Conquering the 7 treasures glazed sect. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the mission reward. World Malice minus 6%, Origin Experience plus 600,000, Origin Points plus 6,000, Small Plane Area plus 600 square meters, Small Plane Standard Density plus 1. The system notification sounded, and Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. After receiving the mission reward, Wang Kai's World Malice was only 49%. It was the first time that it was lower than 50%. After the system's reduction, the World Malice towards Wang Kai was only 24.5%. It didn't affect Wang Kai, who was a peerless Dolu. After receiving the generous mission reward, Wang Kai's origin points returned to 40,000, which was enough for Wang Kai's strength to reach a new level. Seniors, father-in-law, the traders of the Heaven Do Empire and the Clear Sky sect might come at any time. We can't stay here for long. Let's go. After speaking, Wang Kai brought Ning Fengji, the Golden Alligator Doluo, the Thousand June Doluo, and the demon-subduing Doluo out of the 7 treasures glazed city and returned to the Martial Soul Holy City. Chapter 395. An hour later, in Martial Soul Holy City, Wang Kai, Ning Fengji, the Golden Alligator Doluo, the demon-subduing Doluo, and the Thousand June Doluo landed in a plaza in the center of Martial Soul Holy City. After that, Wang Kai summoned all the Soul Masters from the 7 treasures glazed sect back to the Doluo continent. Following that, many people from the Martial Soul Empire came to make arrangements for the Soul Masters from the 7 treasures glazed sect. Wang Kai also sent the Holy Dragon Doluo to discuss cooperation with Ning Fengji. After that, he entered a secret cultivation room. On the other side, in the Heaven Do Empire, what? The Blue Lightning Tyrant sect and the 7 treasures glazed sect have been destroyed? How is that possible? Send someone to inform the Imperial Tutor and the seniors from the Clear Sky sect. The Heaven Do Empire's Snowy Knight Emperor's expression changed drastically when he received the news from his scouts. He immediately sent someone to inform Shrek's 7 monsters and the Clear Sky sect. In the Heaven Do Empire's Guest Elder Hall. What? The Blue Lightning Tyrant sect has been destroyed? No. Martial Soul Hall, you bunch of inhumane trash. I will never forgive you. After hearing that the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect had been destroyed, Master Yu Xiaojiang and Lu Erlong beat their chests and stomped their feet. They were filled with grief and indignation. They hated the Martial Soul Hall immensely. Yes, even though the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect didn't like Yu Xiaojiang and Lu Erlong, it was still the sect of their relatives who were connected by blood. After knowing that no one in the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect had survived, Yu Xiaojiang and Lu Erlong's eyes were filled with hatred. They wanted to get rid of the Martial Spirit Hall. Sea God's Island. How is that possible? Uncle Jian and Uncle Gu are both peak Dolu. How did they? After learning that the Sword Doluo and Bone Doluo had been slain, a hint of incredulity appeared in Ning Rongrong's eyes. However, she knew that the Snowy Knight Emperor wouldn't joke around with her, and 2 streams of tears immediately flowed from the corners of her eyes. Rongrong, my condolences. Dead people can't come back to life. Only by cultivating hard and defeating the Martial Spirit Palace can we avenge them and live up to their souls in heaven. Looking at Ning Rongrong's expression, Tang San and Oscar stepped forward and comforted her. No, I don't believe it. Third elder brother, Sika, leave me alone for a moment. Ning Rongrong pushed open the door and left. Tears streamed down her face as she shut herself in her room and wept silently. Heavenly sect. The Martial Spirit Palace is really arrogant. How dare you attack our 3rd high sect? Bastard, I must avenge the brothers of the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect and the 7 treasures glazed sect. After hearing the news from the 2 greater sects, the Fury Hammer Doluo of the Clear Sky sect glared and roared furiously. Senior Furyhammer, I know that you and the Sword Doloa are close friends, but if we want to defeat the Martial Spirit Palace, we have to plan carefully. Compared to the current Martial Spirit Palace, our strength is not enough. If we attack rashly, it will only increase the casualties. However, you don't have to be anxious. You also know that Tang San is now undergoing the Sea God's test, and he has already completed a large part of it. When San receives the god's inheritance and returns as a god, he will definitely lead us to defeat the Martial Spirit Palace, kill the villains, and avenge the brothers of the two greater sects who sacrificed themselves. Senior Furyhammer, as the old saying goes, it's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. For the sake of the big picture, please bear with it for the time being. After hearing the second elder's words, Tang Hao also stood up and tried to persuade him softly. Lil Hao, I understand. I won't be rash. However, when we defeat the Martial Spirit Empire, I will definitely capture the murderer who killed Brother Chen Xian. I will cut open his stomach and remove his heart to avenge Brother Chen Xian and comfort his soul in heaven. God Realm. 5 Godly Kings, I have another important thing to report to you. The trajectory of fate has changed. An orange-haired woman who exuded a noble and mysterious aura, wore a gorgeous gauze dress, and revealed a rainbow-colored divine light, came to the Godly Kings Conference Hall and reported the situation to the 5 Supreme Godly Kings. This god was none other than the Goddess of Destiny, a first-tier god in charge of the mysterious laws of destiny. What? The trajectory of fate has changed. Goddess of Destiny, are you sure this news is true? After hearing the Goddess of Destiny's words, the kind Godly King's calm and gentle voice sounded. However, there was a hint of anxiety in that calm voice. Yes, 5 Godly Kings, of course I'm sure. Just an hour ago, my divine weapon, Destiny Spindle, already gave me a warning. The line of fate of the Doloa continent has fluctuated, and an anomaly has appeared on the Doloa continent. If we don't interfere, I'm afraid that the plan of our god realm for many years will be ruined. After hearing the kind Godly King's words, the Goddess of Destiny hurriedly bowed and explained. How terrible! Goddess of Destiny, do you have the ability to locate that anomaly? At this moment, Godly King Shura's disdainful, cold, and aloof voice sounded, revealing an incomparable majesty and killing intent, causing people to tremble in fear. Godly King Shura, this little god's strength is shallow, and I'm unable to locate that anomaly. I can only give a warning. However, if you want to eliminate the anomaly's influence, the 5 Godly Kings can try to increase the input of the power of the world into the people who are chosen. After hearing Godly King Shura's question, the Goddess of Destiny hurriedly bowed and replied apologetically. All right, it's not your fault that you can't find the anomaly. If the anomaly was so easy to find, it wouldn't deserve to be called an anomaly. To be able to detect the fluctuations of fate and give a warning, you've already done very well. If there's nothing else, Goddess of Destiny, you can leave now. Looking at the Goddess of Destiny, the Goddess of Life at the side also praised her before asking her to leave. Everyone, how should we deal with the matter mentioned by the Goddess of Destiny? I think that we can increase the investment in those who are chosen. For example, we can let them inherit the deity positions earlier and inject more power of the world into them, allowing their strength to increase faster. I agree. Seconded. Alright. Not a bad idea. The 5 Godly Kings unanimously approved this suggestion. Immediately after, the War God, the Culinary God, the Phoenix God, the 9-Colored Goddess, and the Speed God were summoned. They immediately sent down their divine consciousnesses to contact Dai Mubai and the others in the Doloa continent, telling them to start taking the divine test without any mistakes. Putting aside the various undercurrents caused by the destruction of the 7 Treasures Glazed sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, Martial Spirit Holy City, Green Xian Hall, Secret Cultivation Room. Very good. 40,000 origin points. My strength can be raised to a new level. After walking into the secret cultivation room, Wang Kai also entered the small plane with a thought. After being intimate with the devastatingly beautiful and fairy-like Wang Kai, he activated the small plane's time deceleration function and allowed Wang Kai to cultivate for 5 days, which was only 1 day in the Dolua continent. Then, he began to cultivate. Chapter 396. This time, the first thing Wang Kai did was to upgrade his soul bones. Wang Kai had only upgraded all his soul bones to 700,000 years because he didn't have enough origin points the last time he upgraded his soul bones. This time, he planned to upgrade all his soul bones to 1 million years. Wang Kai exchanged soul bone upgrade stones one by one and used them in the future. All of Wang Kai's soul bones were upgraded at a speed visible to the naked eye. Finally, all of Wang Kai's soul bones were upgraded to 1 million year soul bones, which were God's soul bones. After they were upgraded to God's soul bones, the 6 void lightning dragon soul bones and the 2 external soul bones turned from silver to gold in color. The lightning around them also turned golden. After the upgrade, the skill provided by the void lightning dragon soul bone set, the void lightning dragon transformation, was also upgraded. Once it was activated, it could raise Wang Kai's strength to mid-stage quasi-god, early, middle, late, peak, great perfection, for an hour. After each activation, it would take a day to recharge. Furthermore, mid-stage quasi-god wasn't the limit of the void lightning dragon transformation. As Wang Kai's strength increased, the power of the void lightning dragon soul bone set would also continue to increase. It had room for growth. At the same time, the upgrade of the soul bones also gave Wang Kai a lot of evolutionary power, especially during the process of them becoming God's soul bones. After the baptism of evolutionary power, Wang Kai's soul power reached 85% crystallization, and his spiritual power reached 44% crystallization. Not only that, but Wang Kai's strength also increased greatly from the weakest exceptional Dolua to an ordinary exceptional Dolu. In the exceptional Dolo realm, there was a huge difference in strength between different soul masters. Generally speaking, an ordinary exceptional Dolua was twice as strong as the weakest exceptional Dolua. An outstanding exceptional Dolua was twice as strong as an ordinary exceptional Dolua, and a top-tier exceptional Dolua was 2 to 3 times stronger than an outstanding exceptional Dolu. This meant that Wang Kai's powers had almost doubled. Coupled with his evolved void lightning dragon transformation, Wang Kai was naturally very satisfied. Of course, in order to upgrade these soul bones, Wang Kai's origin points had shrunk back to 28,000. However, compared to the strength he had gained, everything was worth it. What Wang Kai was doing now was to upgrade his soul rings. After Wang Kai's soul ring was upgraded to a million-year soul ring, it was upgraded to a 1-stripe divine soul ring, and a 2 million soul ring was upgraded to a 2-stripe divine soul ring, and so on. Generally speaking, 1 pattern to 3 pattern soul rings corresponded to 3rd-level gods, 4 pattern to 6 pattern soul rings corresponded to 2nd-level gods, and 7 pattern to 9 pattern soul rings corresponded to 1st-level gods. Right now, all of Wang Kai's soul rings were million-year soul rings, which were 1-stripe divine soul rings. With Wang Kai's current physique, he could withstand the pressure of a 2-stripe divine soul ring. Therefore, Wang Kai was prepared to upgrade his soul rings. Compared to a million-year soul ring, the price of upgrading a soul ring after it became a god-ranked soul ring would be much higher. Exchanging for a million-year soul ring only required 1,000 origin points, but exchanging for a tool that could upgrade a million-year soul ring to a 2 million-year soul ring required 2,000 origin points. With a thought, he exchanged for 8 elementary million-year soul ring sublimation stones. Wang Kai also began to upgrade Emperor Shura's 8 soul rings. 15 days later in the small plane. Very good. I've become even stronger. After releasing Emperor Shura's martial soul, 8 2-striped divine soul rings with 2 divine runes hung behind Wang Kai's back. They looked extremely majestic. With the upgrade of his soul rings, Wang Kai's soul power crystallization had reached 89%, and his spiritual power crystallization had reached 52%. His strength had also improved. Although he was still some distance away from becoming an excellent transcendent Doluo, he wasn't far off. However, Wang Kai only had slightly more than 10,000 origin points left. It wasn't enough for Wang Kai's strength to improve further. Wang Kai also planned to save some origin points for emergencies. Therefore, Wang Kai was also prepared to go out to hunt again. As for the Clear Sky sect, Tang Hao was much stronger than he was in the original timeline because of the world's support. He had already become a rank 98 peak Dolu. He was very strong, and had the fighting strength of a demigod. Once he used his great Meru hammer and explosive bracelet, his strength could even reach the level of a godly throne. Wang Kai's current fighting strength wasn't enough to kill such a ferocious god. Therefore, Wang Kai decided to let the Clear Sky sect live for now. He would hunt soul beasts to increase his soul power. After he became a titled Doluo, he would conquer the Clear Sky sect and the three empires. As for the place where Wang Kai hunted soul beasts, it was in the extreme north. Although there were more soul beasts in the Great Star Do Forest, Di Tian and the Silver Dragon King were still hibernating there. They were very strong and unpredictable. They were a little dangerous for Wang Kai. However, it was different in the extreme north. The strongest soul beast in the extreme north was the 700,000-year Snow Lady. Her strength was around that of a quasi-god. Even if Wang Kai couldn't defeat her, he could rely on his great Void Lightning Dragon transformation to escape. After he made up his mind, Wang Kai told Sindoryu about his whereabouts. After that, he told the Holy Dragon Doluo about the Martial Soul Empire's arrangements. Following that, Wang Kai also came to the Green Xian Hall. He used a special method to bid farewell to his wives, Chihiro Snow, Ning Yuxian, Dai Qingli, Zhu Yiling, Mo Shu, Shui Bing Shui Yuer Yi Lingling, Hu Wu, and Hu Liena. 10 beautiful young ladies fought 10 intense battles with Wang Kai. They were all defeated by Wang Kai and begged for mercy. Several days later, after kissing his 10 wives goodbye, Wang Kai left the Green Xian Hall with Mo Shu. He rose into the air and headed north. He rushed to the extreme north. The extreme north was similar to the North Pole of the Blue Star. It was located in the northernmost part of the Doluo continent. It was an icy plain with a radius of 2,000 kilometers. The temperature here was extremely low, and there were many ice-type soul beasts living here. In the extreme north, there were a total of 4 soul beasts with cultivations above 100,000 years. They were the 700,000-year Ice Sky Snow Lady, the Snow Emperor. Her strength was around that of a mid-stage quasi-god. The 400,000-year Ice Emperor, the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion, the Ice Emperor. Her strength was around that of an early-stage quasi-god. The 200,000-year Tai Tan Snow Devil King. Her strength was around that of an ordinary, exceptional Dolu. The 100,000-year Ice Bear King. Her strength was around that of a rank 96 peak Dolu. As for the other soul beasts, there were many powerful existences. Among them, there were more than 20 titled Dolu. However, ordinary titled Dolu weren't considered powerful in Wang Kai's eyes. His eye of destruction was enough to kill them. Just like that, Wang Kai crossed the border of the Heaven Do Empire and flew towards the extreme north. Chapter 397. As Wang Kai got closer and closer to the extreme north, the temperature in the air started to drop. Very soon it was below zero. At this moment, snowflakes started to fall from the sky. The world was covered in white, and the color of the soul beasts also started to turn white. This was the best color for protection in the ice and snow. However, Wang Kai didn't stop at the outer regions of the extreme north. In the outer regions of the extreme north, the soul beasts' cultivations were basically at the 1,000-year level or lower. To Wang Kai, they weren't of much value. Only by entering the inner regions of the extreme north could Wang Kai continue to rapidly upgrade and evolve. As he continued to move towards the inner regions of the extreme north, the temperature continued to drop. Very soon it was below 10 degrees Celsius. The snowflakes falling from the sky were like goose feathers. They covered the sky and covered the earth. The biting cold wind attacked and cut Wang Kai's body like sharp blades. For soul masters who weren't soul sages, if they came here recklessly, even without the threat of soul beasts, they wouldn't last an hour before their soul power was exhausted. They would be frozen to death and become frozen corpses. They would be sealed here forever. Even soul masters who were soul sages had stronger physiques and stronger soul force, so they could last for a long time in this place. However, the inner regions of the extreme north were the domain of soul beasts. There were many 10,000-year soul beasts active here, and they were strong enough to kill soul sages. It was for this reason that the northernmost continent was a dangerous place for soul cultivators. Of course, this danger was nothing to Wang Kai. It couldn't threaten him in the slightest. It's about time to start. Wang Kai revealed a look of joy as he felt the powerful auras of the soul beasts around him. He activated Shura's true body and released his 5 divine martial souls. Soul skills were unleashed in all directions, killing soul beasts one after another. He kept them in his small plane and handed them to the super furnace to refine. 1 month later. Ding! You have accumulated enough experience. Congratulations to host for spending 25 million origin experience and successfully becoming a rank 84 soul dolu. You have 30,000 origin experience left. You need 75 million origin experience to level up. Soul skills were unleashed one after another, exterminating all the soul beasts within a radius of several kilometers. A satisfied smile appeared on Wang Kai's face. I've finally become a mid-tier soul dolu. Moreover, now that I have 40,000 origin points, it's time to raise my strength again. After entering the small plane, Wang Kai continued to spend his origin points to purchase elementary million-year soul ring sublimation stones and upgrade his soul ring once again. Several days later. Very good. I've become even more powerful. After upgrading all of his divine eyes of creation to 2 million-year soul rings, Wang Kai's soul powers crystallization had reached 91%, and his spiritual powers crystallization had reached 58%. At the same time, Wang Kai's strength had also reached the level of an outstanding, exceptional dolu. After upgrading his divine eyes of creation, Wang Kai still had a lot of origin points left. Therefore, he did the same and upgraded all of the chaotic mountain river cauldron's soul skills to 2 million-year soul rings. After doing this, Wang Kai's origin points returned to 8,000. However, his strength had also increased, and he had become a top-tier exceptional dolua. After the soul powers crystallization had reached 90% and above, it was even more difficult to continue compressing soul power. Every 1% was more difficult than the previous 10%. For soul masters who didn't have a system, even if they were geniuses, they would still need hundreds of years to complete this process. The crystallization of soul power was also a prerequisite to becoming a demigod. This was also the reason why there were so few demigods on the Dolua continent. Therefore, although he had refined 8 elementary million-year soul ring sublimation stones, Wang Kai's soul powers crystallization had only increased by 1%, reaching 92%. However, his spiritual powers crystallization had increased by leaps and bounds, reaching 63%. Continue hunting. After using up all of his origin points, Wang Kai left the small plane again and started another hunt. This time, the hunt went very smoothly. Wang Kai's strength had increased again, and he had become a rank 85 soul dolu. He had also accumulated a lot of origin points, and Wang Kai used them all to increase his strength. After using 32,000 origin points, Wang Kai's eternal and devouring dragon and heavenly fate sword soul skills had all been upgraded to 2 million-year soul skills. At the same time, Wang Kai's strength had also successfully broken through the exceptional Dolo level, and he had become a demigod. After becoming a demigod, a soul master's strength was no longer divided into the weakest, ordinary, outstanding, and peak. Instead, it was divided into the elementary, middle, late, peak, and complete stages. After Wang Kai had broken through, he was now an elementary demigod. An elementary demigod. Although he was only a half-step and a demigod, this was the domain of a god, after all. It had already surpassed the domain of mortals. In front of Wang Kai, even the sword Dolua's heart and sword as one attack was no longer unstoppable. The sword Dolua's attack, which had burned his life force, could only severely injure Wang Kai in the end, but he couldn't kill Wang Kai. However, although Wang Kai's strength was comparable to a demigod's, Wang Kai didn't have the divinity that a demigod possessed. Therefore, if Wang Kai really fought an elementary demigod, he would be at a disadvantage. As for the crystallization of Wang Kai's soul power and spiritual power, they had reached 95% and 73%, respectively. He was one step closer to completing the crystallization, and could condense his divinity and divine spirit. But this time, during Wang Kai's hunt, he encountered a big guy. TSK. Human soul masters actually dare to enter my territory to hunt soul beasts. Damn it. Following a furious roar, a ferocious giant bear that was 20 meters tall and covered in snow-white fur walked out from the ice and snow. He exuded the terrifying aura of a peak Dolua. This was the Ice Bear King, Little Bai. He was one of the 4 great 100,000-year soul beasts in the extreme north. He was very strong, and possessed the strength of a rank 95 peak Dolu. Ice Bear King? Not bad, a big fellow has come. You can die now and become food for my evolution. It was a little difficult to use the Eye of Destruction to kill a large soul beast like the Ice Bear King. Therefore, Wang Kai channeled his soul power and summoned the Shura's god-slaying spear. He charged towards the Ice Bear King. Whoosh! 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 Under the suppression of Wang Kai, the Ice Bear King was beaten back by Wang Kai. The shaft of the Shura's god-slaying spear left wounds that were more than 2 meters in diameter on Little Bai's body. Blood kept flowing out. Die! After kicking the Ice Bear King to the ground, Wang Kai lifted the Shura's god-slaying spear and aimed it at Little Bai's head. He stabbed it viciously. PSSH. Following a dull sound, the tip of the Shura's god-slaying spear crushed the Ice Bear King's brain and killed him. A red soul ring slowly rose from behind his body. You have killed the 100,000-year Ice Bear King. You have received 750,000 origin points and 750,000 origin points. The system's notification sounded, and Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. Chapter 398. Not bad. 750,000 origin experience. No wonder it's a 100,000-year soul beast. It's too generous. For soul beasts that had yet to reach 100,000 years of cultivation, even if they were as strong as a titled Dolua, they would only provide 100,000 points of origin experience. However, once they became a 100,000-year soul beast, the amount of origin experience they contained would increase exponentially. At the very least, they would be worth a few 100,000 points. After killing the Ice Bear King, Wang Kai's hunting journey was very smooth. He wasn't obstructed by any powerful soul beasts. Everywhere he went, Wang Kai would kill almost all the soul rings in that area. Wang Kai's origin experience and points were also increasing rapidly. 1 month later. Very good. I've become a rank 86 soul Dolu. My abilities have reached a new level. Now I only need 1 more rank to become a high-tier soul Dolu. When that happens, I can continue to upgrade my soul rings. Streaks of terrifying soul skills were unleashed in all directions, taking the lives of soul beasts one after another. Wang Kai's cultivation had also broken through smoothly because of the vast amount of origin experience that was surging into his body. He had become a rank 86 Soul Dolu. His origin points had reached 40,000, and his fighting abilities were comparable to a mid-stage demigod's. However, it wasn't convenient for Wang Kai to use his origin experience for now. This was because if Wang Kai wanted to continue upgrading his soul rings and soul bones, his current physique wasn't strong enough. He had to become a high-tier soul Dolua before he could try. Apart from that, Wang Kai had killed almost all of the high-tier soul beasts around the Ice Bear King's territory during this period of hunting. The originally white plains of ice had turned into red plains of blood. Therefore, Wang Kai continued on his journey to the Tai Tan Snow Devil King's territory. The Tai Tan Snow Devil King, also known as Atai in the unparalleled Tang sect, had a cultivation of 250,000 years. His attack power was extremely strong, and his strength was comparable to that of an ordinary exceptional Dolu. It was extremely terrifying. However, Wang Kai was naturally not afraid of him. After all, Wang Kai's fighting strength was comparable to that of a demigod. When he arrived at the Snow Devil King's territory, Wang Kai released his spiritual power and quickly locked onto the Snow Devil King. After that, he used his soul force to summon the Shura Monarch armor and Shura's god-slaying spear. The surface of his body burned with Shura's demonic flames as he charged toward the Snow Devil King. This was a gigantic soul beast that was over 100 meters tall. Its entire body was brown, and it exuded a terrifying aura. Soul masters who weren't even titled Dolua could feel their hearts palpitating just by getting close to it. Wang Kai activated Shura's true body as he stared at the Tai Tan Snow Devil King. His body expanded from 10 meters to 100 meters, and he was on par with the Tai Tan Snow Devil King. "Human, what are you trying to do by invading my territory?" The Tai Tan Snow Devil King asked coldly as he stared at Wang Kai. "I want to kill you." After he finished speaking, Wang Kai didn't reply. He raised his spear and stabbed. "Arrogant. Human, you'll pay the price for your actions. When I catch you, I'll tear you into 5 pieces." When he heard Wang Kai's words, a savage look flashed across the Snow Devil King's eyes. He waved his arms and charged at Wang Kai. Bang! When the spear and the arm collided, a muffled sound rang out. The 10,000-year ice beneath Wang Kai and the Snow Devil King's feet instantly cracked because of the tremendous impact. The Snow Devil King's body stumbled back several steps. "How is this possible? I'm a 200,000-year soul beast with a top-tier bloodline. You're just a human. How can you be stronger than me?" The Snow Devil King's eyes sparkled with disbelief as he stared at Wang Kai. He roared in astonishment. "You're too weak. You talk too much. Go and die." As he stared at the Snow Devil King, Wang Kai didn't reply. He raised his spear and stabbed at him again. Yes, the Tai Tan Snow Devil King's bloodline was indeed top-notch. It allowed him to rival an ordinary exceptional Dolua with only 250,000 years of cultivation. However, Wang Kai's abilities were already at the mid-stage of the demigod realm, and he also possessed 5 divine martial souls. His physique was extremely strong, and that was why he could crush the Tai Tan Snow Devil King in terms of strength. Whoosh! 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 Against the Snow Devil King, Wang Kai's arms flew up and down. His spear was like a dragon as it swept out streaks of golden light on the white snowy plains. Spear after spear. At first, the Tai Tan Snow Devil King was still able to barely hold on under Wang Kai's attack. However, as time passed, Wang Kai's accumulated spear aura became more and more abundant, firmly suppressing the Tai Tan Snow Devil King. The sharp Azura god-slaying spear also pierced several large holes several meters in diameter on the Tai Tan Snow Devil King's skin, causing him to bleed incessantly. Roar! Spear after spear pierced the Snow Devil King's body, leaving deep bloody holes and long wounds. The terrifying Shura's murderous aura was rapidly corroding the Snow Devil King's wounds. The Snow Devil King screamed in agony. In the face of such a strong opponent like Wang Kai, even the Tai-Tan Snow Devil King had no way of retaliating. He could only put down his dignity and attempt to escape. However, in front of Wang Kai, all of this was futile. A thick layer of spatial barriers completely blocked off the Snow Devil King's escape route. He was forced to fight Wang Kai to the death. It's over. Boundless Blood Spear Technique. 9 returned to 1. Finally, the Boundless Blood Spear Technique's spear aura had accumulated to the 81st level. Wang Kai also smiled sinisterly. He activated his secret technique and combined the accumulated spear aura of the 81 spears into one. Roar! Accompanied by a dragon's roar, a giant blood-red dragon with a diameter of 20 meters suddenly shot out from the tip of the unbounded Blood Fiend spear. It carried with it a terrifying pressure and might as it shot toward the Tai-Tan Snow Devil King. No! Feeling the dragon's pressure, the Snow Devil King's movements paused for a moment. In that moment, the blood dragon had already struck the Snow Devil King's head. Boom! A violent explosion rang out as the blood dragon struck the Titan Snow Devil King's head. Then, it continued to fly away. Under the terrifying explosion, the Tai-Tan Snow Devil King's brain was blasted apart. Brain matter splattered everywhere, red and white matter splattering everywhere. Then, the Tai-Tan Snow Devil King's headless body fell heavily to the ground. Dong! The huge headless corpse fell heavily to the ground and let out a dull thud. It also caused a terrifying earthquake that could be felt within tens of kilometers. It also caused countless terrifying avalanches. You've killed a 250,000-year soul beast, the Snow Devil King. You've obtained 15 million origin points and 15,000 origin points. A red soul ring slowly rose from the Snow Devil King's headless corpse. It was extremely beautiful. However, Wang Kai didn't absorb this 25-year soul ring that countless soul masters yearned for. Instead, he kept it in his small plane and handed it to Wang Kai. She used the super furnace to refine it and turn it into origin points, which became resources for Wang Kai's evolution. Chapter 399. After killing the Tai-Tan Snow Devil King, the remaining soul beasts in his territory were like chickens and dogs to him. None of them could resist Wang Kai's crazy slaughter, and they were all killed one by one. 1 month later. Ding! Host now has 81 million experience points. Upgrade requires 75 million experience points. Host has spent 75 million experience points to become a rank 87 Soul Dolu. Host has 60,000 experience points remaining. Next upgrade requires 25 million experience points. The system's notification sounded in Wang Kai's mind. Boundless evolutionary power surged out and flowed through Wang Kai's tendons and meridians, causing Wang Kai's body to undergo a mysterious transformation. It strengthened all of Wang Kai's attributes. As he felt the changes in his body, Wang Kai's lips curled into a smile. 100,000 origin points. Not bad. My strength can take another step forward. As he looked at the number of origin points he had, Wang Kai's smile became even wider. After becoming a high-tier Soul Dolua, Wang Kai could upgrade his soul rings and soul bones again. His abilities would definitely soar again. However, before that, I should go back and see Shui and the rest. As he thought about it, Wang Kai turned around and left the extreme north. He rushed towards Martial Soul Holy City. Several hours later, at Martial Soul Holy City. Shui Qingli. Liena, I'm back. As he looked at the 9 beautiful ladies who were passionately welcoming him and waiting to be fed, Wang Kai revealed a satisfied look on his face. Hubby, brother Wang Kai, welcome. Tightly surrounding Wang Kai in the center, the faces of the 9 devastatingly beautiful girls were filled with longing. They hoped to immediately start that sacred game with Wang Kai to fill the emptiness in their hearts and mind. Looking at Chihiro Snow and the others, Wang Kai naturally would not be stingy with his life liquid. He first summoned the demonic fairies and then accompanied them in turn. He played the holy game of creating happiness and made the beautiful girls fall asleep with satisfied smiles on their faces. Following that, Wang Kai went to the pontiff's palace to deal with the martial Soul Empire's official matters. He also issued a series of important instructions before entering a secret cultivation room and being teleported to a small plane. After arriving at the small plane, Wang Kai helped Wang Xian relieve the loneliness and emptiness in her heart, after which, he played with Yu Qingyue and Duguyan for a while. Finally, he sat down cross-legged, entered a meditative state, and started his cultivation. One elementary million-year sublimation stone after another was exchanged for. 80,000 origin points were spent, and all of Wang Kai's soul rings began to advance towards 3 million-year soul rings, the 3-pattern divine soul ring. Half a month passed in the small existential plane. Due to the time acceleration, it corresponded to 4 days in the outside world. Very good. An early-stage quasi-god. My strength has become even stronger. After using the last elementary million-year sublimation stone, Wang Kai's strength had advanced from demigod great perfection to quasi-god early stage. His strength had reached a new level. Not only that, Wang Kai's soul power crystallization had reached 99%. He was only one step away from completing the soul power crystallization. At the same time, Wang Kai's spiritual power crystallization had also reached 90%. Many demigod experts who had just advanced were not as strong as him. After completing his cultivation, Wang Kai left the small existential plane again and used a special method to bid farewell to the 9 beautiful girls in the Green Xian Hall. The next day, leaving behind the 9 beautiful girls whose footsteps were slightly unstable, Wang Kai also left the Green Xian Hall again with the demonic fairies and rushed to the extreme north. However, this time, Wang Kai had just entered deep into the land of extreme north when he felt a terrifying chill assault over. In front of Wang Kai, a beautiful figure broke through the cold wind and snow and walked out gracefully. At this moment, a tall and beautiful girl with a beautiful, cold, and arrogant face appeared. There were 4 green demonic patterns on each of her small, white dimples. Her long, dark green hair was draped behind her back. Her skin was as white as snow and had a transparent texture. Under her skin, there was a faint green light circulating. This was the 400,000-year soul beast, the Ice Emperor. Her original form was the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion. Her strength was comparable to an early-stage demigod. After she appeared, the surrounding temperature dropped rapidly. In an instant, it dropped by 100 degrees or more. The air around her started to solidify and turn into liquid. Human, you dare to come to the extreme north to hunt soul beasts? Die. The Ice Emperor's extremely cold and arrogant voice sounded. After that, she waved her hand, and countless amounts of icy aura condensed and turned into terrifying ice blades. They cut through space and attacked Wang Kai crazily. Any one of them was enough to kill a titled Dolu. This was one of the Ice Emperor's skills, Ice Blade Storm. With her demigod strength and the special environment of the extreme north, even a quasi-god would have to avoid it. Shura's sky-splitting strike. Looking at the terrifying ice blades, Wang Kai wasn't afraid at all. The second golden soul ring behind him, which corresponded to the Emperor Shura, shone. Countless golden energy surged around Wang Kai's body. With a slash from Wang Kai, they turned into golden light blades and met the terrifying ice blade storm. Boom! 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 The golden light blades collided with the ice blades, and a terrifying explosion occurred. Waves of violent shockwaves were generated, and many ice mountains were cut in half. Countless terrifying avalanches were triggered. Human, you're not bad. Take another move of mine, Icy Flash. Seeing that Wang Kai easily took her move, the Ice Emperor's beautiful eyes became a little more serious. She waved her arms forward, and a large ball of icy energy condensed in front of her arms. It turned into a ball of blue icy energy, and with an aura that could freeze everything, it attacked Wang Kai. Power of destruction. Looking at the frightening ball of icy energy, Wang Kai wasn't afraid at all. He channeled his soul power, and a black light flashed in his right eye. The fourth soul ring behind him, which corresponded to the divine eye of creation, flashed. He communicated with the law of destruction and summoned a ball of destructive energy, which he used to meet the icy flash. Bang! An even more terrifying explosion rang out. The world was instantly shrouded in half blue and half black. These energies surged wildly, emitting terrifying shock waves that completely annihilated everything within a radius of several kilometers. Even countless icebergs dozens of kilometers away were brutally broken and collapsed because of the shock waves. At this moment, the power of destruction quickly gained the upper hand in the center of the collision. Although this was the extreme north, which was the home ground of the Ice Emperor, and the environment contained a large amount of icy energy, Wang Kai's soul power was much stronger than the Ice Emperor's. The law of destruction was also many times more powerful than the law of ice. In the center of the collision, the blue energy from the Ice Emperor quickly retreated, while the black energy that represented the power of destruction was constantly approaching the Ice Emperor. Chapter 400. Finally, the black energy completely devoured the blue energy in midair, and a ball of destructive energy flew out from within. It carried a frightening might as it went straight for the Ice Emperor. Shield of Ice. Following the Ice Emperor's shout, balls of ice and snow gathered and formed a shield of ice that was as smooth as a mirror in front of the Ice Emperor. However, in front of the destructive energy, the Ice Emperor's shield of ice could only resist for a few seconds before it turned into ice shards and was completely shattered. Ice Jade Empress Scorpion's true body. Sensing the frightening energy of the destructive ball of light, the Ice Emperor didn't dare to take it head-on in her human form. Instead, she entered her soul beast's battle mode and displayed her strongest defensive mode. A green light flashed, and the Ice Emperor's beautiful appearance disappeared. What appeared next was an enormous Ice Jade Empress Scorpion. There were a total of 4 layers at the front of the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion's body. Each layer was about 20 centimeters long, and the head of the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion was raised above the layer at the front. On the front of the 4 layers, there were hexagonal protrusions that flickered with an incomparably bright light. They were extremely beautiful, and contained a frightening amount of icy energy. Looking down, these diamond-like protrusions also covered the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion's 6 thick and powerful legs, as well as its incomparably large front stingers. These were the most prominent features of the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion's body. Only the front part of its mouth did not have these protrusions. It was silvery white in color, and was extremely smooth. Looking up, the eyes of the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion were yellow, like 2 yellow diamonds embedded in them. They were hexagonal in shape and flickered with a crystalline yellow light. They were dazzling. Looking behind the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion, the Ice Emperor's tail was different from the many segments of a normal scorpion's tail. It only had 5 segments, and each segment was dark green in color. They revealed an incomparably dangerous and poisonous glow. At the tip of the scorpion's tail, there was an incomparably sharp tail hook that emitted a metallic luster. Boom! The destructive ball of light directly hit the surface of the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion's body, and then violently exploded. Although the Ice Emperor's defense had increased a lot after entering the state of the Ice Emperor Scorpion, in front of the destructive ball of light, the Ice Emperor's defense was still a little weak. Her originally beautiful body had been charred black by the explosion. Black cracks had appeared on her shell, and dark green blood was faintly flowing out. "Human, how dare you injure me? I'll kill you!" An extremely venomous voice came from the Ice Emperor's mouth. Soon after, the Ice Emperor waved the poisonous tail on his back and viciously swept it towards Wang Kai. You no longer have the chance. Wang Kai smiled sinisterly as he looked at the Ice Emperor. His figure suddenly disappeared, and he dodged the Ice Emperor's attack. Shura's instant hell shadow stab. The fifth black soul ring behind him flashed, and Wang Kai's figure disappeared from where he was standing. In the next moment, Wang Kai appeared behind the Ice Emperor. He raised his back, and Ashura's shadow stab shot out, directly towards the Ice Emperor. Shield of Ice. The Ice Emperor was alarmed when he felt Wang Kai appear behind him. Countless amounts of icy power condensed behind him, forming a shield of ice. It's useless. Following Wang Kai's voice, the Ice Emperor's shield of ice suddenly shattered, turning into countless ice shards that scattered in all directions. The Shura's shadow stab pierced through the Ice Emperor's back, and pierced through the Ice Emperor's body. No! Following the Ice Emperor's helpless screams, countless amounts of green blood spurted out from the wounds on her body. Her life force was rapidly decreasing, and her consciousness was rapidly fading. Become my slave. Great enslavement technique. Facing a great beauty like the Ice Emperor, Wang Kai naturally felt pity. Although killing the Ice Emperor would give him a large amount of experience, Wang Kai wanted to obtain the Ice Emperor's body more than the cold experience. He extended his hand from behind and placed it on the Ice Emperor's forehead. Countless amounts of mysterious energy surged into the Ice Emperor's mind, and a seed of enslavement was planted in it. Following this, Wang Kai extracted the Shura's murderous aura from the Ice Emperor's wounds, and used his life force, soul skill to transfer countless amounts of life force to heal the Ice Emperor's wounds. Vast amounts of life force surged into the Ice Emperor's body, and the Ice Emperor's wounds rapidly healed. At the same time, the Ice Emperor's consciousness also rapidly recovered. Your servant, the Ice Emperor, greets Master. Your servant's tone just now was slightly offensive, and I've offended Master. Please don't blame me. After waking up from her coma, the Ice Emperor quickly transformed into her human form. She knelt on one knee and kissed the tip of Wang Kai's foot, and spoke respectfully. It's fine. Be obedient in the future and work for me. I won't make things difficult for you because of this. Wang Kai consoled the Ice Emperor as he caressed her beautiful hair. Following this, he sent the Ice Emperor into his small plane. At this point, of the 400,000-year soul beasts in the extreme north, 2 had been killed, and 1 had been enslaved. Only the strongest soul beast, the Snow Emperor, was still alive. Let's continue fighting. After successfully enslaving the Ice Emperor, Wang Kai continued his hunting journey. Without the obstruction of powerful soul beasts, Wang Kai's abilities also improved very quickly. 1 month later. Rank 88 Soul Dolu. Very good, I've become even stronger. Wang Kai's lips curled into a smile as he felt the boundless power of evolution in his body. After becoming a rank 88 Soul Dolu, Wang Kai's abilities also made another breakthrough, and he successfully became a mid-stage quasi-god. In that case, upgrade my Void Lightning Dragon Soul Bone set again. After becoming a rank 88 Soul Dolu, Wang Kai had accumulated 60,000 origin point. After his soul bones reached 1,000,000 years, the price of upgrading them had doubled. To upgrade all his soul bones to 100,000 years, he needed 8,000 origin point. Therefore, Wang Kai only upgraded his Void Lightning Dragon Soul Bone set to 1,500,000 years before he stopped. His remaining origin points returned to 20,000. The upgrade of his soul bones this time didn't increase Wang Kai's abilities by much, but it wasn't a small increase either. It allowed him to become a late-stage quasi-god. After this, Wang Kai left the Ice Emperor's territory and rushed towards the Snow Emperor's territory. Dozens of minutes later, Wang Kai continued to head north, towards the deepest part of the extreme north. The environment's temperature dropped rapidly, and soon dropped to -300 degrees Celsius. The air had completely solidified, and there was no air in the environment at all. There was only extreme emptiness and coldness. In such an environment, even a titled Dolua wouldn't dare to stay for long. Only a peak Dolua could survive in such an environment. Of course, for Wang Kai, Shura's demonic flames were enough to eliminate all the coldness. As Wang Kai continued to move forward, a huge white palace appeared in front of him. It was where the Snow Emperor lived, the Snow Emperor Palace. Chapter 401. Ice Emperor, come out together and help me deal with the Snow Emperor. Outside the Snow Emperor's palace, Wang Kai summoned the Ice Emperor from the small plane. I understand. Master, I'll definitely help you and make Big Sister Snow Emperor your female slave. The Ice Empress smiled sweetly as she looked at Wang Kai affectionately. Then, she said obediently, my Ice Emperor is so well behaved. Wang Kai praised as he bent down and kissed the Ice Emperor lightly on her face. Thank you, Master. After receiving Wang Kai's reward, the Ice Emperor's face turned slightly red and was filled with joy. Snow Emperor, come out. From today onwards, you're Wang Kai's female slave. Wang Kai released his soul power as he looked at the Snow Emperor's palace in the distance, and shouted coldly. Arrogant! Human, you'll pay the price for your words and actions. When I catch you later, I'll freeze you in the 10,000-year ice and torture you until you die. I'll make you beg for death. After hearing Wang Kai's words, a cold and angry voice sounded. Following that, a white-haired beauty broke through the cold wind and walked out of the Snow Emperor's palace with graceful steps. This white-haired beauty was extremely beautiful and had a great figure. Her entire body exuded an ice-cold aura. She was flawless and devastatingly beautiful. Even if one used all the adjectives, it was difficult to describe her beauty. She was the 700,000-year soul beast, the Snow Emperor. The Snow Emperor's beauty was very unique. She was like a fairy that had fallen into the human world. She was noble and elegant, domineering and sweet. She lacked the playfulness of the Ice Emperor and had a coldness and arrogance. Even when compared to Chihiro Snow, the Snow Emperor's appearance wasn't inferior. In Wang Kai's family, only Wang Xian could truly overshadow the Snow Emperor. Not only that, but the Snow Empress' face was also extremely beautiful. Her face was fair and tender, and her eyes were bright and beautiful. Her nose bridge was pink and cute, and her ears were adorable. One couldn't help but want to pinch them a few times. Her silvery white hair was draped behind her back, and it made the Snow Empress appear extremely elegant and beautiful. Looking down the Snow Emperor's slender and snow-white neck, the Snow Emperor was wearing a pure white dress that was formed from soul power. She was elegant, luxurious, and extremely beautiful. Furthermore, the Snow Emperor's body was extremely soft and smooth, which made people praise her endlessly. Of course, hidden under the Snow Emperor's beauty was her terrifying strength. As a 700,000-year soul beast, although the Snow Emperor hadn't officially passed the 700,000-year calamity, her strength had reached the mid-stage quasi-god level. She was only slightly weaker than the current Wang Kai. Even in the entire Dolua continent she was ranked in the top 5. Snow Emperor, you're so beautiful. I must conquer you. Looking at the Snow Emperor in the distance, Wang Kai couldn't help but reveal a look of praise in his eyes. At this moment, the Snow Emperor turned her gaze to the Ice Emperor beside Wang Kai. Sister Ice Emperor, what's wrong with you? Why are you beside a human soul master? With a trace of doubt, the Snow Emperor opened her mouth and asked, Sister Snow Emperor, this is my master, Lord Wang Kai. Sister Snow Emperor, Lord Wang Kai admires you very much. This time, he brought me here to defeat you and then turn you into his female slave. Looking at the Snow Emperor in the distance, the Ice Emperor giggled as she replied, Your master? Despicable human, what did you do to Sister Ice Emperor? Go and die. Emperor's chill, snowy dance of the radiant sun. Following the Snow Emperor's shout, boundless cold air instantly condensed. In an instant, everything within 10,000 meters became the Snow Emperor's domain. It became a forbidden area in the human world. Even the light of the sun couldn't compare to it. Looking at the Snow Emperor in the distance, Wang Kai also felt his body stiffen. His speed was reduced by 50%, and even the flow of his soul power was reduced by 30%. Even someone as strong as Wang Kai was affected by the Snow Emperor's domain. This was enough to show how strong the Snow Emperor's domain was. Shura's domain, open for me. However, facing the Snow Emperor's domain, Wang Kai wasn't afraid at all. He only silently channeled his soul power and unleashed Shura's domain. Following the release of Shura's domain, boundless blood-red light and murderous aura expanded outwards with Wang Kai as the center. Furthermore, it crazily clashed with the Snow Emperor's snowy dance of the brilliant sun. As the two domains clashed, waves of frightening auras were continuously produced. Even a titled Doluo would feel powerless in the face of such a situation. This was a fight between quasi-gods. Every move and action of theirs contained strength that exceeded the limits of a human's strength. No matter how many existences below the titled Doluo came, they could kill them with just a thought for a quasi-god. Even titled Doluo didn't have the ability to protect themselves in front of a quasi-god. Even the shockwaves from the battle were enough to crush them to death. Just like the confrontation between Wang Kai and the Snow Emperor, just the collision and suppression of their domains was enough to crush all the soul power within a few dozen kilometers. There were many 10,000-year soul beasts, and there were even 70 or 80,000-year soul beasts. In the confrontation between Shura's domain and the snowy dance of the brilliant sun, Wang Kai's Shura's domain also gained the upper hand. The blood-red Shura's domain crazily suppressed the snowy dance of the brilliant sun. As her domain was suppressed, the Snow Emperor's face turned slightly pale, and her aura decreased slightly. Empress Sword, unparalleled chill. Seeing that her domain couldn't suppress Wang Kai, the Snow Emperor also shouted. Boundless power of ice and snow gathered in the Snow Emperor's hand and turned into a huge sword that exuded an endless aura of ice. Following which, the Snow Emperor waved the huge sword in her hand and slashed down at Wang Kai. In an instant, boundless cold aura attacked Wang Kai. Every ray was like the sharpest blade, crazily stabbing towards Wang Kai in an attempt to completely kill Wang Kai. Its power is not bad. Heavenly Fate God-slaying sword. Looking at the Snow Emperor's Emperor Sword, unparalleled chill, Wang Kai also nodded slightly. After which, he summoned his Destiny Sword Martial Soul and activated his 8th Soul Skill. The 8th Soul Skill that corresponded to the Heavenly Fate Sword behind him suddenly shone. The Heavenly Fate Sword in Wang Kai's hand suddenly shone and flickered with an extremely terrifying radiance. Wang Kai held the Heavenly Fate Sword in his hand and swung it forward fiercely. In an instant, space was torn apart, and an extremely terrifying sword light slashed out. With a terrifying might that could annihilate gods, it crazily clashed with the Snow Emperor's Emperor Sword, unparalleled chill. Boundless sword aura clashed and unleashed an extremely terrifying might. In such an intense clash, even the Ice Emperor had to be careful. He didn't dare to get involved in the battle between Wang Kai and the Snow Emperor. And in the clash between Wang Kai and the Snow Emperor, the ice layer on the ground within a radius of tens of kilometers was completely shattered. Even the solid ice that was a few hundred meters deep was completely shattered. Those originally towering ice mountains and snow mountains collapsed one after another, and all life was wiped out. Chapter 402. So strong. As the shock waves dissipated, the Snow Emperor and Wang Kai stared at each other coldly. Their eyes were filled with seriousness, and they viewed each other as strong opponents on the same level. Again, Shura's world-destroying finger. Looking at the Snow Emperor, Wang Kai also shouted coldly as he channeled his soul power. His 8th golden soul ring flashed behind him, and boundless killing intent gathered around Wang Kai. Following this, as Wang Kai pointed forward, this frightening killing intent left his body and turned into a huge golden-red finger in the air. With a destructive aura, it charged towards the Snow Emperor. Emperor's palm, snowless glacier. Looking at Shura's world-destroying finger, the Snow Emperor also shouted and channeled the power of ice in her body. Boundless power of ice gathered on the Snow Emperor's fair palms. Following this, a pair of blue energy palms left her hands and shot towards Shura's world-destroying finger. Boom! The shock waves from the collision of the two soul skills were much stronger than before. Even 100 kilometers away, the ground was trembling crazily. Even on Sea God's Island, which was a few thousand kilometers away, huge waves were surging. Human, you're very strong. However, you still have to die for offending me. After the shock waves dissipated, the Snow Emperor floated in the air and spoke coldly. Snow Emperor, I have to admit that you're stronger than I thought. However, this is more interesting. Snow Emperor, I'll definitely conquer you today. Looking at the Snow Emperor, Wang Kai revealed a look of admiration in his eyes. After this, the two of them stood together again. In terms of absolute strength, Wang Kai was actually stronger than the Snow Emperor. However, this was the extreme north, and it was the Snow Emperor's home ground. As a result, Wang Kai and the Snow Emperor were evenly matched. However, Wang Kai had an advantage that the Snow Emperor didn't have, and that was his million-year soul ring, the power of heaven and earth. With the help of the power of heaven and earth, Wang Kai could unleash soul skills without expending any energy, and he would never feel tired. However, the Snow Emperor couldn't. 4 hours later, although the Snow Emperor's recovery ability was extremely strong, after 4 hours of battle, the Snow Emperor's soul power and spiritual power had decreased greatly. He was gradually being suppressed by Wang Kai. Go to sleep peacefully. When you wake up, everything will be fine. Shura's world-destroying finger swept over and pierced a huge hole in the Snow Emperor's body. The Snow Emperor's consciousness also fell into a daze. Looking at the heavily injured and unconscious Snow Emperor on the ground, Wang Kai stepped forward again and activated the Great Enslavement technique. He planted an enslavement in the Snow Emperor's mind and enslaved her. Following this, Wang Kai activated the Power of Life and summoned the Power of Life to heal the Snow Emperor. With the help of a huge amount of Power of Life, the Snow Emperor's wounds also began to heal rapidly. His life force also rose rapidly. This servant, the Snow Emperor, pays respects to Master. Earlier, the Snow Emperor attacked Master. He deserves to die. Master, please forgive the Snow Emperor's ignorance and offense. After waking up from her coma, the Snow Emperor immediately half-knelt in front of Wang Kai and kissed the tip of Wang Kai's shoe to express her submission. It's fine. I'm magnanimous. I won't be calculative about this. After helping the Snow Emperor up and gently caressing her soft hair, Wang Kai revealed a satisfied look on his face. Following this, he kept the Snow Emperor back into the small plane. After enslaving the Ice Emperor, the remaining soul beasts naturally couldn't stop Wang Kai. They were all killed by Wang Kai, and Wang Kai's origin experience and points soared once again. A month later, rank 89 Soul Dolu. I've advanced. As long as I advance again, I can become a titled Dolu. However, the high-tier soul beasts in the extreme north have basically all been killed. This is really troublesome. After a month of killing, Wang Kai was finally a rank 89 Soul Dolu. His origin points had also reached 70,000 points. However, his strength was still at the late stage of the quasi-god stage. He didn't advance any further. However, after a few months of killing, 99% of the soul beasts above 10,000 years in the extreme north had been killed by Wang Kai. The remaining soul beasts couldn't efficiently provide Wang Kai with the origin experience needed to become a titled Dolu. The Ice Emperor and the Snow Emperor are local here. Perhaps they know of some hidden ancient soul beast. Why don't I ask them? With a thought, Wang Kai summoned the Ice Emperor and the Snow Emperor to ask them. Hidden ancient soul beasts? Master, the Snow Emperor knows that there are such soul beasts in the depths of the extreme north. They all originated from ancient times. When they couldn't survive the calamity of the soul beasts, they used a secret technique to freeze themselves in order to survive. After hearing Wang Kai's words, the Snow Emperor answered truthfully. Ancient icebound soul beasts? That's great. Can you introduce their strength to me? After kissing the Ice Emperor's face, Wang Kai continued to ask. Master, it's my honor. There are a total of 4 ancient icebound soul beasts. They are. After hearing Wang Kai's praise, the Snow Emperor was delighted. Then, she continued to introduce them. According to the Snow Emperor's introduction, there were a few ancient icebound soul beasts. Ancient Ice Ant, a 200,000-year soul beast with the strength of a peak dolu. Ancient Ice Rhinoceros, a 300,000-year soul beast with the strength of an exceptional dolu. Ancient Ice Phoenix, a 400,000-year soul beast with the strength of an early demigod. Ancient Ice Dragon, a 600,000-year soul beast with the strength of an early quasi-god. After learning about these soul beasts, Wang Kai was very satisfied. He also asked the Snow Emperor to bring him to the location of these ancient icebound soul beasts. 10 minutes later, under the Snow Emperor's lead, Wang Kai also arrived at the location of the first ancient Ice Phoenix soul beast. The ancient Ice Ant. This was an ice mountain that was 20 meters tall. The ancient Ice Ant had frozen itself here. Not bad. A 200,000-year soul beast. It's a good harvest. With a thought, Wang Kai summoned a ball of Shura's demon fire and began to burn the ice around the ancient Ice Ant. As Shura's demon fire approached, the ice around the ancient Ice Ant melted instantly. A few seconds later, the ancient Ice Ant appeared in front of Wang Kai. Who dares to disturb my sleep? Go to hell. Looking at Wang Kai, the ancient Ice Ant instantly let out a furious roar and pounced towards Wang Kai. How dare you disrespect Master? Looking at the ancient Ice Ant, the Ice Emperor and Snow Emperor's beautiful eyes narrowed. Just as they were about to attack, they were stopped by Wang Kai. This was because if they attacked, Wang Kai's source experience and points would decrease. Noisy. Eye of Destruction. Looking at the ancient Ice Ant in front of him, Wang Kai laughed coldly. The ancient Ice Ant's figure appeared in his eyes, and then suddenly shattered. No. How? Before the last 2 possibilities could be said, the ancient Ice Ant's body had already begun to disintegrate. In the end, it turned into black ashes and scattered with the wind. Chapter 403. At its peak, the ancient Ice Ant's strength was only comparable to a peak dolu. Furthermore, it had just awakened from its ice seal, and its strength was far from its peak. On the other hand, Wang Kai's strength had increased significantly after his many upgrades. His Eye of Destruction had also become a 3,000,000-year soul skill, and its strength had increased greatly. Even a peerless Dolua had a chance of being instantly killed by his Eye of Destruction, let alone a small ancient Ice Ant. Killed 200,000-year ancient Ice Ant obtained 850,000 ancient Ice Ant obtained 8,500 points. Wang Kai smiled as the system's notification sounded. With a thought, he collected the ancient Ice Ant's corpse and soul ring and handed them over to the super furnace to be refined. Master is mighty. At this moment, the Ice Emperor and Snow Emperor beside Wang Kai also came over. They stuck close to Wang Kai like little birds and looked at Wang Kai with admiration. What a pair of sweet babies! Wang Kai laughed as he looked at the Ice Emperor and Snow Emperor. He kissed their fair cheeks before instructing the Snow Emperor to lead him to the next ancient Ice Phoenix. Killed 300,000-year ancient Ice Rhinoceros. Obtained 125,000 points. Obtained 12,500 points. Killed 400,000-year ancient Ice Phoenix. Obtained 255,000 points. Obtained 25,500 points. Wang Kai killed the ancient ice rhinoceros and ancient ice phoenix almost effortlessly. Wang Kai's origin experience had reached 5.02 million, and he was only one step away from the 7.25 million required to upgrade. Wang Kai's origin points had also increased explosively, reaching 120,000. Finally, Wang Kai arrived at the last primordial ice phoenix, the primordial ice dragon, and used Shura's demonic flames to undo the seal. Compared to the previous 3 immemorial icebound soul-type beasts, the ice dragon's cultivation was at 600,000 years. It was much stronger, but to Wang Kai, this ice dragon wasn't much of a threat. After all, even the Snow Emperor, a 700,000-year soul beast, wasn't Wang Kai's match. How could this 600,000-year ice dragon, whose strength wasn't at its peak, be a match for Wang Kai? In less than 100 rounds, the originally arrogant primordial ice dragon had already been beaten to a bloody pulp by Wang Kai. In the end, Shura's god-slaying spear pierced through the dragon's head, taking its last breath. Killed 600,000-year primordial ice dragon. Obtained 533,000 points. Obtained 53,300 points. Current experience 10.35 million points. Required 7.25 million points to upgrade. Spent 7.25 million points to become a peak Soul Dolua, rank 90 Soul Dolua. Remaining experience 3.1 million points. You are now a peak Soul Dolua. Please obtain your 9th soul ring and become a titled Dolua. Following the death of the primordial ice dragon, the system's notification sounded in Wang Kai's mind again. Wang Kai's expression was one of ecstasy. Titled Dolua. Finally, I can become a titled Dolua. Streaks of evolutionary power surged into Wang Kai's body, and Wang Kai couldn't help but jump up. Congratulations, Master! Seeing how happy Wang Kai was, the Ice Emperor and Snow Emperor also came forward to congratulate Wang Kai. After that, Wang Kai kept the primordial ice dragon's corpse and soul ring in his small plane. After that, he led the Ice Emperor and Snow Emperor into his small plane. Welcome back, Brother Wang Kai. Wow, Brother Wang Kai, you've already become a peak Soul Dolua. Wang Xian'er was also surprised as she welcomed Wang Kai. That's right. Xian'er, after I become a titled Dolua, you can also leave this small plane and move around freely, Wang Kai said with a smile as he kissed Wang Xian'er's face gently. Xian'er will thank Brother Wang Kai in advance. I also wish you success. With a face full of smiles, Wang Xian'er bowed and retreated. Let's begin. After looking at his own attributes, Wang Kai's origin points had reached 173,500 points. His soul power's crystallization had reached 99%, and his spiritual power's crystallization had reached 98%. His spiritual power was now able to do 60 things at once. Now, as long as Wang Kai successfully became a titled Dolua, he could rely on the power of evolution to compress his soul power and spiritual power. After that, he would be able to complete the crystallization process of his soul power and spiritual power. From then on, he would be able to become a god without any obstacles. After spending 1,000 origin points to exchange for an adaptive million-year soul ring from the system store, Wang Kai also started to refine it. The 7-colored fog enveloped Wang Kai, and Wang Kai guided the fog to form the most suitable 9th soul ring for him. 6 hours later. Ding! Congratulations on refining an adaptive million-year soul ring. Your first martial soul, Emperor Shura, has obtained the 9th soul skill, Shura's Invincible Body. Shura's Invincible Body was a million-year soul skill. After activating it, all of Wang Kai's attributes would be increased by 3 times. Furthermore, as long as Wang Kai's soul power was not depleted, Shura's invincible body would not be destroyed. It also had the characteristic of becoming stronger the more it fought. Ding! Congratulations, Master, for successfully obtaining your 9th soul ring and becoming a rank 91 titled Dolu. The system's notification sounded again. Following that, Wang Kai felt an extremely majestic power of evolution surging into his body. It was more than 10 times stronger than when he became a soul Dolu. Under this power of evolution, every part of Wang Kai's body was transforming. All of his cells were dying and being reborn rapidly, causing Wang Kai's body to look brand new. He began to slowly transform from a mortal's body to a god's body. At the same time, the last part of Wang Kai's soul power finally crystallized. At this point, Wang Kai's soul power had successfully crystallized. As long as he obtained divinity, he could successfully become a demigod. After the soul power crystallized, the compression of the soul power did not stop. After the soul power crystallized, the purity of the soul power was measured by the degree of compression. When one had just broken through to the crystallization realm, the degree of compression of the soul power was 0. After that, every time the soul power was compressed by 1-fold, the degree of compression would increase by 1. With the help of the power of evolution, Wang Kai's soul power became purer and purer, without any impurities. The degree of compression of the soul power increased rapidly, and a trace of the potential of divine power began to appear. Another half a day passed. Wang Kai's spiritual power also began to crystallize, and it was finally completed. From now on, Wang Kai's soul had the potential to transform into a godly soul, and he could break through to become a quasi-god without any hindrance. 3 days later, the power of evolution completely faded away, and Wang Kai successfully became a rank 91 titled Dolu. After successfully becoming a titled Doluo, Wang Kai's attributes increased by nearly 5 times compared to before. His strength directly advanced from a quasi-god to an intermediate god official, which was more than 10 times stronger than before. At the same time, Wang Kai's degree of compression of soul power reached 3. In other words, Wang Kai's soul power was 3 times more condensed than when it had just crystallized. The degree of compression of his spiritual power also reached 2. Furthermore, Wang Kai's spiritual power also broke through again, reaching the realm of multitasking. Chapter 404. Now, it's time to be cleansed by the power of the world. After successfully breaking through to become a titled Doluo, Wang Kai returned to the Doluo continent with a single thought. After a soul master became a titled Doluo, they would be cleansed by the power of the world of the Doluo continent. The cleansing of the world's power would increase the physique of a titled Doluo once again. This was also one of the reasons why a titled Doluo's strength and lifespan far exceeded a soul Doluo's. Just as he returned to the Doluo continent, Boundless World's power was instantly attracted by Wang Kai. In the next moment, countless green raindrops suddenly appeared in the sky above the extreme north. They were filled with vitality, and they continuously fell to the ground. This was the first phenomenon of breaking through to become a titled Doluo, dew from the heavens. As long as a soul master became a titled Doluo, such a phenomenon would definitely appear, and their vitality would be increased. The greater the potential of a soul master's evolution, the greater the area covered by the dew from the heavens. When a normal titled Doluo was breaking through, the dew from the heavens could only cover a kilometer. However, when Wang Kai became a titled Doluo, the dew from the heavens appeared in the sky above almost the entire extreme north. This was enough to show how strong Wang Kai's evolution potential was. Following this, a streak of purple air suddenly appeared from the east of the horizon. It blew towards Wang Kai and cleansed Wang Kai's body. This was the second phenomenon of breaking through to become a titled Doluo, purple air from the east. Compared to the dew from the heavens, only soul masters who had a chance of becoming a peak Doluo could trigger the purple air from the east. Streaks of purple air surged into Wang Kai's body, causing Wang Kai's physique to improve by another level. At the same time, they purified Wang Kai's soul power once again. After the purple air from the east appeared, an intoxicating sound suddenly appeared beside Wang Kai. It sounded as if countless gods and Buddhas were chanting and spreading the truth of the great Tao. This was the third phenomenon of breaking through to the titled Dolo realm, the sound of the great Tao. Only those who had a chance of becoming an exceptional Dolua could summon the sound of the great Tao. At this moment, Wang Kai was also under the influence of the sound of the great path. His comprehension and mind power were increasing rapidly, and many cultivation problems were solved. Half an hour later, the sound of the way finally dispersed. Then, countless clouds gathered above Wang Kai's head, forming a beautiful azure canopy that covered Wang Kai's head. This was the fourth phenomenon of breaking through to the titled Dolo realm, the azure aura canopy. Generally speaking, only soul masters who had the potential to become gods would be able to condense the azure chi canopy phenomenon. Under the azure chi canopy, Wang Kai only felt that the world's malice towards him was rapidly decreasing, and it was beginning to favor him instead. Finally, a bright moon strangely appeared in the sky above. This phenomenon was the fifth phenomenon of breaking through to the titled Dolo realm, the simultaneous appearance of the sun and moon. Only those who had the potential to become gods could summon the simultaneous appearance of the sun and moon. That bright moon that appeared strangely remained for a full 30 seconds before slowly fading away. Fifth phenomenon, not bad. Seeing the appearance of the fifth phenomenon, Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction, but he wasn't surprised at all. With Wang Kai's potential, it would be surprising if he couldn't summon the fifth phenomenon. At this moment, on the Dolua continent, the simultaneous appearance of the sun and moon, impossible. Countless powerful individuals looked at the bright moon that had appeared strangely in the sky, and said in disbelief, yes, even in the history books, the simultaneous appearance of the sun and moon had only appeared a few times. How could they not be surprised by the appearance of such a phenomenon? The simultaneous appearance of the sun and moon. It seems like Big Brother Wang Kai has already become a titled Dolu. Looking at the phenomenon in the sky, the ladies of the Green Xian Hall revealed proud expressions. They were proud of their husband, Wang Kai. At this moment, as the owner of the phenomenon, Wang Kai returned to the small plane once again, preparing to increase his strength. Ding! Congratulations on completing the mission, breakthrough to titled Dolua. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining mission rewards. God Martial Soul Extraction Opportunity X1, Soul Ring Cleansing Stone X50, Adaptive 100,000 Year Soul Ring X50, 100,000 Year Soul Ring Sublimation Stone X50, 500,000 Year Soul Ring Sublimation Stone X50, 500,000 Year Origin Experience Points, 500,000 Year Origin Points, Small Plane Area plus 15,000 square meters, Soul Power Standard Concentration plus 15, Divine Forging Tower Function, World Altar Function, God Martial Soul Advancement Function. The system notification sounded, and Wang Kai's smile became even wider. At the same time, the small plane began to undergo a new and mysterious transformation. On the plane furnace in the center of the small plane, all kinds of mysterious runes continued to appear, dazzling the eyes. The size of the plane furnace continued to expand, drawing more and more energy at every moment, causing the concentration of soul power in the small plane to become higher and higher. Not only that, the area of the small plane was also expanding at a speed visible to the naked eye. The area had expanded from the original 9,100 square meters to 24,100 square meters, which was nearly 3 times its original size. Not only that, the height of the small plane's sky had also expanded from 100 meters to 300 meters, and the overall volume had greatly expanded. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the Mission OI Breakthrough to Level 3 God. Do you accept and view it? The system notification sounded again, and Wang Kai naturally nodded. Accept. Accept successful. With Wang Kai's thought, the system notification sounded, and then a transparent mission box appeared in Wang Kai's mind. Mission name: Path of God, Breakthrough to Level 3 God. Mission description: After breaking through to titled Doluo, you already have the strength to confront the gods. Young man, keep fighting, and use the blood and bodies of the gods to forge your path to becoming a god. Note: this will be the last system mission to break through to level 3 God. A time limit: 3 years, failure punishment. None, failure to become a god means only death. Mission reward: the small plane transforms into a small world, Supreme Life Artifact X1, System Transformation Qualification. Looking at the system's mission, Wang Kai also nodded. 3 years to become a level 3 god. I can definitely do it. After experiencing the baptism of the 5 visions, Wang Kai's strength had also advanced from the middle divine official to the late divine official, and his strength had greatly increased. At Wang Kai's strength, he could be said to be the strongest person in the Dolua continent, surpassing Sendoryu, Tangchen, and Poseidon. Even if he faced the divine consciousness of God Shura in the past, he could still destroy it. However, if he faced the incarnation of a god, Wang Kai was temporarily not a match for it. In addition, if Poseidon borrowed the great formation of the Sea God's Island, she could display the strength of a level 3 god, and Wang Kai would not be a match for her for the time being. Let me see the new functions of the system. After becoming a titled Doluo, the infinite martial soul system had also awakened 3 system functions: the Divine Forging Tower, the World Altar, and the God's Martial Soul Advancement. Wang Kai was full of anticipation as he looked at them one by one. Chapter 405. It's really too powerful. As expected of the infinite martial soul system's reward after I become a titled Dolu. Looking at the 3 new functions provided by the system, Wang Kai's face was filled with joy. Firstly, it was the system's Divine Forging Tower function. This was a system building that Wang Kai had placed beside the dimensional furnace. After becoming a titled Doluo, Wang Kai had also opened the god's path. To become a god, the most important thing was to condense divinity, a god's body, a god's fire, and a god's soul. 4 ordinary soul masters, they could only condense divinity, a god's body, a god's fire, and a god's soul through bitter cultivation and inheritance. If they only relied on bitter cultivation, they might need a few hundred years to condense divinity. However, Wang Kai didn't have such trouble. Firstly, Wang Kai had the Divine Forging Tower. He could refine a god's body, avatar, or divine consciousness. Through the Divine Forging Tower, he could obtain pure divinity, a god's body, a god's fire, and a god's soul fragments and refine them. Secondly, he could use the Divine Forging Tower that he had just obtained. As the name implied, the Divine Forging Tower was a building that could create gods. After becoming a titled Doluo, Wang Kai no longer needed origin experience to continue leveling up. Instead, he used god sources. As for the exchange rate, it was 1 to 10,000. 10,000 origin experience was equivalent to 1 god source. The Divine Forging Tower could use god sources to condense divinity, a god's body, a god's fire, and a god's soul for Wang Kai to become a god. Every 100 god sources could condense 1 point of divinity. After accumulating 100 points of divinity, he could perfectly become a demigod. Every 300 god sources could condense 1% of a god's body. When the god's body transformation reached 100%, he could perfectly become a quasi-god. Every 400 god sources could condense 1% of a god's soul. Every 500 god sources could condense 1% of a god's fire. After condensing his god's soul and god's fire, Wang Kai could become a god official. Secondly, it was the World Altar. This was also a system building. After becoming a titled Doluo, Wang Kai could truly unleash his conqueror attribute. Wang Kai also gained an additional attribute, world control. It was currently at 12%, and it would continue to rise as Wang Kai conquered the Dolua continent. The World Altar could continuously extract world power from the Dolua continent and convert it into experience to help Wang Kai evolve. With Wang Kai's current level of control over the world, he could draw 3 Divine Source experience points every day. The higher his level of control over the world, the more Divine Source experience points he could draw from the World Altar. It didn't change linearly, it changed exponentially. Lastly, there was the God Martial Spirit's advancement function, which was also a very powerful function. A God Martial Spirit was much stronger than an ordinary Martial Spirit. However, God Martial Spirits also had differences in strength and could continue to evolve. In the past, the system had only given Wang Kai a rank 1 God Martial Spirit. Above the rank 1 God Martial Spirits, there were rank 2 and rank 3 God Martial Spirit. Every time a God Martial Spirit was upgraded, the God Martial Spirit's ability would be greatly strengthened. The God Martial Spirit's rank up function could help the God Martial Spirit to advance to the next rank. Of course, although the evolved God Martial Spirit was very powerful, it was very expensive. The first evolution required 100,000 experience points, and the second evolution required 1 million experience points. Ding! You now have 1 chance to extract a God Martial Spirit. Will you use it? The system's notification sounded again. Of course. Following Wang Kai's words, a golden wheel appeared, and the needle started to spin. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the God Martial Spirit, Pagoda of Creation. Following the system's notification, a 9-story pagoda emitting a mysterious rainbow light flew out and merged into Wang Kai's body. Ding! Congratulations on successfully merging with the 6th God Martial Spirit, Pagoda of Creation. The system's notification sounded, and Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. Very good. Now let's start adding the 9th soul skills to the other martial spirits. With a thought, Wang Kai began to fuse the 9th soul skills for the chaotic mountain and river cauldron, the divine eye of creation, the eternal and devouring dragon, and the heavenly fortune sword. However, this time, Wang Kai did not choose to use the 100,000-year adaptive soul ring provided by the system. Instead, he directly bought an adaptive 1,000,000-year soul ring for himself. As for the 100,000-year adaptive soul ring, he could leave it for Chihiro Snow and the others. 1 day later. Ding! Congratulations on using the 1,000,000-year adaptive soul ring sublimation stone for your 2nd martial spirit, the chaotic mountain and river cauldron, to successfully obtain the 1,000,000-year soul skill, Chaos Heaven Splitting Array. Ding! Congratulations on using the 1,000,000-year adaptive soul ring sublimation stone for your 3rd martial spirit, the divine eye of creation, to successfully obtain the 1,000,000-year soul skill, Power of Reincarnation. Ding! Congratulations on using the 1,000,000-year adaptive soul ring sublimation stone for your 4th martial spirit, the eternal and devouring dragon, to successfully obtain the 1,000,000-year soul skill, Eternal Light. Ding! Congratulations on using the 1,000,000-year adaptive soul ring sublimation stone for your 5th martial spirit, the heavenly fortune sword, to successfully obtain the 1,000,000-year soul skill, Heavenly Fortune Annihilation Sweep. 4 system notifications sounded one by one. Wang Kai looked at the 4 new soul skills one by one. Every single one of them was infinitely powerful, as expected of the 9th soul skill. Following that, Wang Kai also used the elementary 1,000,000-year soul ring sublimation stone to upgrade them to 3,000,000-year soul rings one by one. After doing all this, Wang Kai's origin points returned to 150,000 points. After testing the new soul skills a little, Wang Kai chose to bestow new soul skills to the Pagoda of Creation. 1 month later, which was 5 days in the outside world. Very good, I'm even stronger now. After spending nearly 50,000 origin points to upgrade all the soul rings of the Pagoda of Creation to 3 million-year soul rings, Wang Kai's strength also smoothly broke through the late-stage Divine Official Realm and entered the peak of Divine Official Realm. As for the 9 great soul skills of the Pagoda of Creation, they were: First soul skill, Heaven-Splitting Slash. Uses the power of creation to attack the enemy with boundless power. Second soul skill, Grand Mist Blessing. Assist-type soul skill. Uses the power of Grand Mist to bless the target, greatly increasing the target's attributes. Third soul skill, Power of Creation. Assist-type soul skill. Uses the power of creation to surround the user, greatly increasing the power of the next soul skill. Fourth soul skill, Creation's Protection. Uses the power of creation to protect oneself and block the enemy's attacks. Fifth soul skill, 3 Pure Aura. Creates 3 clones in one breath, each with 50% of the original body's strength. Sixth soul skill, Chaotic Purple Chi. Controls the chaotic purple chi of creation to crush the enemy, causing the enemy to be suppressed and imprisoned for a long period of time. Seventh soul skill, Creation's Pagoda True Body. Tool Soul True Body. Increases all of Wang Kai's attributes by 200%, and the power of all of the creation's soul skills by 200%. Eighth soul skill, Chaotic Green Lightning. Summons a trace of the chaotic green lightning of creation to attack the enemy, with the power to harm gods. Ninth soul skill, Creation's Seal. Uses the power of creation to seal the enemy in the creation's pagoda. Uses the power of creation to obliterate the enemy, even gods can be obliterated. After doing all this, Wang Kai's origin points returned to 100,000 points. Finally, he prepared to upgrade Emperor Shura's martial soul to rank 2 to increase his own strength. Chapter 406. Arriving at the 20-meter-tall God Martial Spirit Advancement Tower, engraved with countless mysterious runes, Wang Kai took off his clothes and strode in. Please select the God's martial spirit you wish to advance. After entering the God's Martial Spirit Advancement Pagoda, the system's notification immediately sounded in Wang Kai's mind. Advance to the first martial spirit, Emperor Shura. Hearing the system's notification, Wang Kai muttered in his heart. To advance the first martial spirit, Emperor Shura, to the second stage, requires 100,000 source points. You currently have 105,700 source points. Do you wish to advance? Of course. Following Wang Kai's words, countless mysterious energy suddenly surged out from the God's Martial Spirit Advancement Pagoda and enveloped Wang Kai, turning into a large egg. Within the large egg, the mysterious energy frantically transformed Wang Kai's body, soul, and Emperor Shura's martial spirit in a strange and unpredictable transformation. 3 days later. So powerful! Is this the second stage God's martial spirit? As expected of an existence that requires 100,000 source points to advance. After breaking out of the large egg, Wang Kai could not help but smile as he felt the boundless soul power and life energy in his body. After advancing Emperor Shura's martial spirit to the second stage God's martial spirit, Wang Kai's attributes had also increased by almost twofold. His combat strength had also directly advanced to the Great Perfection Divine Official Realm. His soul power compression had reached 3.5, and his spiritual power compression had reached 2.2. The original Shura domain had also advanced to the true Shura domain, and his strength had increased exponentially. Look at my current attributes. With a thought, Wang Kai opened his attribute window again. Name: Wang Kai Path. Conqueror World Control. 12% World Suppression. 15% System Reduction. 15% Realm. Level 91 titled Doloa Soul Power Compression. 3.5 Spiritual Power. Multitasking Spiritual Power Compression. 2.2 Strength. Great Perfection Divine Official Realm. Experience Points. 8101000 God Source Points, 5700 Source Points, Path of God, Divinity, 0/100, God's Body, 0/100, Divine Soul, 0/100, System Skills. I. True Alchemy, Array True Explanation, Great Enslavement Technique, Great Avatar Technique, System Authorization, Small Plane Authorization, Special Store Authorization, System Advanced Intelligence Authorization, Super Furnace Authorization, Small Plane Special Function, Refining God Tower, Forging God Tower, God Martial Spirit Advancement, World Altar Exclusive Plane, Area 24,100 cubic meters, Soul Power Concentration, 29 plus 3 Standard Concentration, Body Constitution, Limitless Martial Spirit Constitution, Yin-Yang Body, Emperor Shura Body, Martial Soul, Azura Sovereign, Chaotic Mountain and River Cauldron, Divine Eye of Creation, Eternal and Devouring Dragon, Heavenly Fate Sword, Pagoda of Creation, Martial Soul 1. Emperor Shura, Rank 2, Martial Soul 1 Soul Skills, Shura's God Slaying, Shura's Sky Splitting Strike, Shura's God Killing Spear, Spear of Battle, God Slayer, Shura's Emperor Armor, Hero's Appearance, Shura's Instant Hell Shadow Stab, Shura's Demonic Flame, Shura's True Body, Shura's World Destroying Finger, Shura's Invincible Body, 3 million years. Talent, True Shura's Domain, Martial Soul 2, Chaotic Mountain and River Cauldron, Rank 1, Martial Soul 2 Soul Skills, Xian Wang Protection plus Xian Wang Qi, Gravity Domain, Mountain and River Destruction plus Power of Heaven and Earth, Chaotic Mountain and River Cauldron Seal plus 3,000 Heaven Burning Flames, 3 million years, Illusory Destruction plus 4 Pillars of Time, Mountain and River Trap Formation plus Mountain and River Killing Formation, Chaotic Mountain and River Cauldron True Body, Chaos Apocalypse Formation, Chaos Heaven Splitting Array, Martial Soul 3. Divine Eyes of Creation, Rank 1, Martial Soul 3 Soul Skills, 5 Element, Power, Fusion Power, Spatial Power, Destructive Power, Life Power, Time Power, Divine Eyes of Creation True Body, Karma Power, Samsara Power, Martial Soul 4. Eternal and Devouring Dragon, Rank 1, Martial Soul 4 Soul Skills, Devouring Galaxy Explosion, Eternal Dragon Claw, Devouring Realm, Eternal Dragon's Aura, Devouring Sky Shockwave, Eternal Dragon Roar, Eternal and Devouring Dragon True Body, Devouring Heaven and Earth, Eternal Light, Martial Soul 5. Heavenly Fortune Sword, Rank 1. Martial Soul 5 Soul Skills, Light of Heavenly Fortune / Heavenly Fortune's Blessing, Heavenly Fortune Splitting Heaven / Heavenly Fortune 10,000 Sword / Fate Annihilating / Heavenly Fortune True Body, Heavenly Fortune God Slaying Sword, Heavenly Fortune Apocalypse Sweep, Martial Soul 6. Pagoda of Creation, Rank 1, Martial Soul 6 Description. This is a great pagoda that possesses the power to split heaven and earth apart. It is one of the greatest divine weapons in the universe and possesses unparalleled power. Martial Soul 6 Soul Skills, Heaven Splitting / Hongming's Blessing, Genesis Power, Genesis Protection, Triclear Chi, Chaotic Purple Cloud, Pagoda of Creation True Body, Chaotic Green Lightning, Genesis Seal, All 3 million years, Soul Bone, Great Void Lightning Dragon Set, All 1,500,000 years, Great Void Lightning Dragon Transformation, Skills, Items. Looking at his own attribute, Wang Kai's smile became even wider. This is great. I'm now strong enough to unify the Dolua continent, the Clear Sky Sect, the Heaven Do Empire, and the Star Luo Empire will all be conquered by me. At this point, Wang Xian also walked over. Brother Wang Kai, congratulations on becoming a titled Dolu. I have a piece of good news for you. Oh, what's the good news? Wang Kai asked curiously as he caressed Wang Xian's silvery hair. Brother Wang Kai, I've already deduced the 10th level of the Great Mystic Star's Heavenly Forging Soul Divine Technique. Looking at Wang Kai, Wang Xian spoke as if she was asking for credit. Oh, the 10th level of the Great Mystic Star's Heavenly Forging Soul Divine Technique? Xian, you're really amazing. Wang Kai couldn't help but praise Wang Xian as he kissed her face a few times. Brother Wang Kai, I'll transmit the technique to you then. Alright, thank you, Xian. After receiving Wang Kai's approval, Wang Xian also transmitted the 10th level of the Great Mystic Star's Heavenly Forging Soul Divine Technique to Wang Kai. This is great. With the 10th level of the technique, I can solidify the soul power whirlpools in my body. This way, I can reach a state where I can cultivate all the time. After checking the 10th level of the Great Mystic Star's Heavenly Forging Soul Divine Technique, Wang Kai revealed a smile on his face. After that, he started to solidify the soul power whirlpools in his body. Half a day later. I've succeeded. The efficiency of this technique is really amazing. After solidifying the 9 soul power whirlpools in his body, Wang Kai stood up with satisfaction and nodded. After solidifying the 9 soul power whirlpools, Wang Kai received close to 2,000 origin experience points every hour even if he didn't cultivate. In a day, he could receive 50,000 origin experience points, which was equivalent to 5 godly origin experience points. This also meant that even if Wang Kai slept every day, he could naturally advance from a rank 91 titled Doluo to a rank 99 exceptional Doluo after 30 years. This was extremely heaven-defying. Of course, Wang Kai naturally wouldn't choose such a depraved way of living. After all, he still had to deal with troublesome enemies like Tang San and the deities. He couldn't waste his time. Chapter 407. It's time to return to Martial Soul Holy City. Clear Sky Sect, Heaven Do Empire, Star Luo Empire. Your doomsday is here. With a thought, Wang Kai returned to the Doluo continent from the small plane. He left the extreme north and sped towards Martial Soul Holy City. Half an hour later. Wang Shui Qingli. Wu, I'm back. This time, I've brought new sisters for you. As he spoke, Wang Kai released the Ice Emperor, the Snow Emperor Yu Qingyue, Wang Xianer and Mo Shu from the small plane. He introduced them to each other. As for the Duguyan, Wang Kai saw him as a criminal. He didn't have the right to enjoy the Ice Emperor, the Snow Emperor and Yu Qingyue. Although they were Wang Kai's slaves, Wang Kai was willing to give them a status. Following this, it was game time again. However, this time, the number of participants changed from 9+1 to 14+1. Of course, even if the 14 beauties took turns, they couldn't do anything to Wang Kai. They were defeated by Wang Kai time and time again. After Wang Kai had become a titled Doluo, his time power soul skill had become even more heaven-defying. He could now accelerate time by 30 times. As a result, only half a day had passed on the Doluo continent, even though Wang Kai and the girls had been gaming for close to half a month. After doing all this, Wang Kai left the Green Xian Hall and went to Sendoria's residence to report the good news. Wang Kai, the appearance of the sun and moon must have been a phenomenon when you became a titled Dolu. It's really heaven-defying. After hearing Wang Kai's words, Sendoria wasn't surprised at all. He asked curiously, "That's right, Master. It was indeed a phenomenon when I became a titled Dolu." After hearing Sendoria's question, Wang Kai didn't hide anything and admitted it openly. 5-level phenomenon, Godly King talent. Congratulations, Wang Kai. With a tinge of envy and pity, Sendoria also congratulated Wang Kai. I can achieve what I have today because of you, Master. When I become a god in the future, I'll help you modify your body and improve your cultivation. With gratitude, Wang Kai thanked him sincerely. Following this, Wang Kai also went to the Pope's palace to find out about the Doluo continent. Wang Kai to kill Wang sect. Because Wang Kai had destroyed the sect and the 7 treasures glazed sect, Wang sect, Martial city to holy city to the heaven sect to become a Doloa sect and the sect. But after Tang San returned from the 8 Sea Gods trials, the situation changed. After the 8 Sea Gods trials, Tang San became a rank 93 titled Dolu. He also had the Sea God's trident, which made him as strong as a mid-stage demigod. As Sandoria was restrained by Pozidi, he couldn't attack. Therefore, Tang San defeated the Martial Soul Hall. Furthermore, Tang San had also developed the Zhuge Divine Crossbow, the Torrential Pear Blossom Needles, the Mother-Child Soul-Chasing Gall, and many other sinister hidden weapons for the Heaven Do Empire. The Martial Soul Hall had suffered heavy losses, and more than half of the Martial Soul Empire's elite Holy Dragon army had perished. Close to 100 soul sages had died. However, all of this changed with Wang Kai's return. Wang Kai led the Martial Soul Empire to launch a counterattack against the Heaven Do Empire and the Clear Sky sect. Heaven Do Empire, Jialing Pass. Tang San, come out. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death. Wang Kai activated Shura's true body. He donned the Shura Emperor armor and wielded the Shura God-slaying spear. Shura's demonic flames burned around him. He was protected by his Genesis strength and primordial light. He strode out of the Martial Soul Empire's formation and arrived in front of the 2 armies. Humph, Wang Kai, you slaughtered the Soul Masters of the Blue Lightning Overlord sect and the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. You led the Martial Soul Empire to invade the Heaven Do Empire's territory. I must kill you today. On the other side, Tang San wielded the Sea God's trident. His body was surrounded by blue divine light as he strode out of the Heaven Do Empire. You're arrogant, but you're too weak. With a sinister smile, Wang Kai stabbed forward with his spear. Tang San swung his trident to block it. Clang! With a crisp sound of collision, the Sea God's trident in Tang San's hand fell to the ground. The web between his thumb and forefinger split open, blood spurting out, and his arm was bent at a strange angle. How is this possible? Although he revealed a look of surprise on his face, Tang San was secretly activating the mysterious heaven skill. Guanyin tears, Tang San said in his heart. He spat out a mouthful of blood essence. His right hand slowly wiped it. The faint golden color in the blood receded, leaving behind a small transparent water droplet. The bluish-golden light suddenly receded. At this moment, Tang San actually withdrew his martial soul, the Blue-Silver Emperor. Vigorous white mist flowed out of his body. It transformed into 3 huge white mist flowers and condensed above Tang San's head. With a wave of his right hand, the water droplet in his hand acted as a seal. The 3 mist flowers instantly shrank, turning the water droplet into a crystalline jade color. With a sincere expression, Tang San closed his eyes. His whole body sank into white. Then, his right hand shook strangely. The jade-colored water droplet disappeared and shot toward Wang Kai's heart. Guanyin tears, the Tang sect's #1 hidden weapon technique. It was known as ignores defense, never misses. It was very powerful. Even Wang Kai trembled and his hair stood on end when facing this small Guanyin tears. In the previous timeline, Tang San had used this attack as a mortal to break the defense of Chihiro Snow, who had become a 3rd-level god. Chihiro Snow was severely injured. It was enough to show how powerful Guanyin tears were. However, since he knew the characteristics of Guanyin tears, Wang Kai naturally would not take it head-on. Instead, he activated his divine eyes of creation. Destructive power. Waves of extremely dark destructive power condensed into the shape of a black water droplet and shot toward Guanyin tears. Boom! An extremely terrifying explosion rocked the area. The titled Doloa on both sides frantically unleashed their soul power to protect the low-level soul masters on their side. However, even the shock waves from this infernal explosion had almost depleted their soul power. How is this possible? You actually destroyed Guanyin tears. The smoke and dust stirred up by the explosion dispersed. Looking at the unharmed Wang Kai, Tang San's eyes were filled with shock. Humph, to be able to force me to use my full strength, this guanine tears is enough to make you proud. However, it's over. Go to hell, Tang San. Activating Shura's god-slaying spear, Wang Kai stabbed toward Tang San again. No! After using guanine tears, Tang San's strength was almost depleted. Looking at Shura's god-slaying spear, he could not resist at all. However, at this moment, the sea god's trident in front of him suddenly lit up. Sigh! A long sigh sounded. Following that, a vast wave of energy surged out from the sea god's trident and forcefully repelled Shura's god-slaying spear. Under everyone's stunned gazes, an illusory golden figure about 3 meters tall appeared out of thin air. Tang San's sea god's trident was already in his hands. Chapter 408. It was a sliver of the sea goddess consciousness that had protected Tang San at this moment. Brilliant golden light erupted from the sea goddess trident, and it was filled with excitement. Clearly, it had regained its true power in the hands of the golden figure. Young man, in the name of the sea god, I order you to stop attacking my successor. The sea god's majestic and lofty voice came with the sea god's trident. Humph, if you're the real sea god, I'll naturally stop. However, you're just a divine consciousness of the sea god. How dare you stop me? Go to hell. Looking at the sea god's divine consciousness, Wang Kai smiled sinisterly. He raised the Shura god-slaying spear and went straight for the sea god's divine consciousness. Tang San, I'll stop him. Run quickly and go to the sea god's island to receive the final inheritance. The sea god threw the sea god's trident at Tang San and faced Tang San with his bare hands. Senior, I've disappointed you. After receiving the sea god's trident and seeing that the sea god had personally stopped Wang Kai for him, Tang San was also very touched. However, as a person who had lived 2 lives, Tang San was not swayed by emotions. He stayed behind in a daze and frantically activated his soul power to escape to the sea god's island. Sea god, go to hell and become the resources for my evolution. Looking at the sea god's divine consciousness in the distance, Wang Kai was also merciless. He waved the Shura god-slaying spear and attacked the sea god's divine consciousness. Although the sea god was a first-class deity, this was only a divine consciousness after all. It only had the cultivation of a divine official, so it was naturally suppressed by Wang Kai. Tang San, I've already bought enough time for you. Come on, live on. Under Wang Kai's attack, the sea god's divine consciousness's body gradually faded. After dozens of moves, it turned into a shadow and disappeared with the wind. He had already delayed Wang Kai long enough for Tang San to escape. Ding! Killed the sea god's divine consciousness. Obtained divine sources plus 1020, origin experience plus 102,000. Ding! Sufficient experience. Spent 1,000 divine sources to advance to level 92 titled Dolu. Remaining divine sources, 830. Divine substance remnants detected. Do you want to use the smelting god tower to refine it? Of course. The system's voice rang out, and Wang Kai's strength had reached a new level. However, due to the huge gap in strength between a god official and a third-grade god, Wang Kai's strength had yet to break through to third-grade god for the time being. A deity? He actually killed a deity. That's him. God's not afraid of a deity. The Dolo Luo's Daoan Sea God's Divine Doluo, Divine Luo, and Tang Dolua's Divine Daoan Divine Doluo. Of Tang Tang Ling Dolu. The Sea God's divine consciousness had only delayed Wang Kai for less than 10 minutes. If Wang Kai gave chase with all his might, he could still catch up with Tang San. However, when Wang Kai had this thought, Wang Kai felt his face twitch. It was as if some kind of danger was waiting for him. After receiving such a warning, Wang Kai gave up on chasing after and killing Tang San. After all, Wang Kai was improving faster than Tang San. Wang Kai was not worried that Tang San would surpass him. He was also willing to use a safer method to kill Tang San. And you, Soul Masters of the Clear Sky Sect, surrender or die. After killing the Sea God's divine consciousness, Wang Kai turned to the Soul Masters of the Clear Sky Sect. After that, he waved the Shura God-slaying spear coldly. The Clear Sky Sect only has people who die standing. We don't have slaves who die kneeling. After hearing Wang Kai's words, the sect leader of the Clear Sky Sect, the rank 97 Clear Sky Doloa Tang Xiao, took the lead. He activated his martial soul true body, and the clear sky hammer in his hand enlarged. He swung it towards Wang Kai. "Thank you, brother. Let's go together." On the other side, Tang San's father, the rank 98 Clear Sky Doloa Tang Hao, also activated his martial soul true body and stepped forward bravely. "Young people are so hard-working. We can't cherish our lives anymore." After seeing Tang Hao and Tang Xiao step forward, the Devil Hammer Doloa, Second Elder Rage Hammer Doloa, Third Elder Frenzy Hammer Doloa, Fourth Elder Burst Hammer Doloa, Fifth Elder Frenzy Hammer Doloa, Fifth Elder Frenzy Hammer Doloa, Fifth Elder Frenzy Hammer Doloa, Sixth Elder Frenzy Hammer Doloa, and Seventh Elder Frenzy Hammer Doloa also stepped forward bravely with their clear sky hammers. The Clear Sky Sect will never be slaves. The 9 Clear Sky Sect Soul Masters stood in front of the formation and revealed their clear sky true bodies. After that, their soul rings exploded one after another. Exploding soul rings. This was the Clear Sky Sect's ultimate skill, exploding soul rings and burning everything to unleash a powerful attack. As their soul rings exploded one after another, the auras of the Clear Sky Sect Soul Masters became stronger and stronger. Tang Hao and Tang Chen's auras were comparable to quasi-gods, while the auras of the 7 Clear Sky Sect elders behind them were comparable to that of transcendent Dolo or even demigods. Great Meru Hammer. When their auras reached their peak, the 9 Clear Sky Sect titled Doloa exploded their 9 soul rings and fused their strength into their clear sky hammers. After that, they leaped high into the air and injected all their soul power into their hammers. After that, they crazily smashed their hammers towards Wang Kai. "Your courage is commendable, but it's a pity that all of you are too weak." Although the 9 Clear Sky Sect titled Doloa had burned everything they had to activate the Great Meru Hammer's secret technique, their cultivations were too low. Even with the Great Meru Hammer's secret technique, Tang Hao's offensive strength was only comparable to that of an intermediate god official. He couldn't compare to the weaker Clear Sky Sect titled Dolu. Ultimate Blood Spear Technique. Soul power surged all over his body. Facing the 9 Clear Sky Sect titled Doluo, Wang Kai wasn't afraid at all. He unleashed a spear attack each. 9 muffled sounds could be heard. The clear sky hammers in the hands of the 9 Clear Sky Sect titled Dolua's hands were shattered. A bloody hole the size of a bowl appeared in their chests. Their lives were instantly cut off. "You have killed 9 titled Dolu. You have obtained plus 970 divine roots and 97,000 origin points." After the 9 Clear Sky Sect titled Dolua had fallen, the system's notification sounded again. Wang Kai revealed a smile on his face. War was indeed the best way to advance quickly. Wang Kai was only one step away from becoming a rank 93 titled Dolu. Elder, Sect Leader. Looking at the 9 Clear Sky Sect titled Dolua who had lost their lives, the rest of the Clear Sky Sect's disciples cried silently, as if they had lost their backbone. "As for the rest of you, die too. Karmic power, tracing curse." As he stretched out his hand, he drew out a streak of bloodline power from Tang Hao's body. Wang Kai activated his soul skill coldly. The divine eye of creation in his right eye lit up. The 8th soul ring that corresponded to the divine eye of creation lit up. Streaks of strange karmic power were injected into the bloodline power that he had extracted from Tang Hao's body. They turned into the most vicious curse. Several seconds later, in the Heaven Do Empire's camp, strange lumps appeared on the bodies of the Clear Sky sect's disciples. After this, these lumps suddenly expanded. Along with the bodies of the Clear Sky sect's disciples, their bodies suddenly exploded. They turned into lumps of lifeless flesh and blood. Chapter 409. In just 10 seconds, all of the Clear Sky sect's disciples, regardless of whether they were ordinary people without soul power or soul doluo, exploded. They were all reduced to puddles of blood and pus. They emitted a foul stench, and their life force was completely extinguished. In the entire Clear Sky sect, Tang San was the only one who survived the bloodline curse thanks to the protection of the Sea God's bloodline. At this point, the Clear Sky sect, the leader of the Dolua continent's 3 great sects, was destroyed. As the bloodline curse spread, Tang San also felt his heart palpitate. It was as if something important had left him. This was a special feeling that came from the death of a loved one. Father, seniors of the Clear Sky sect, you won't sacrifice yourselves for no reason. I'll definitely avenge all of you. I'll cut that Wang Kai into 1,000 pieces to appease your souls in heaven. Although he was extremely sorrowful, Tang San didn't stop. Instead, he channeled his grief and anger into strength as he frantically escaped. He had to quickly accept the Sea God's inheritance and become a god. He had to avenge the Clear Sky sect. At the same time, Shrek's 6 monsters also received news that they had inherited their god's inheritance. They had to speed up the process and help Tang San. Naturally, they were more than happy to do so. Ding! Congratulations on completing the 2nd mission of the world's martial arts series. Conquer the Clear Sky sect. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining mission rewards. World Malice minus 10%, Origin EXP plus 1 million, Origin Credit plus 10,000, Small Realm Area plus 1,000 square meters, Small Realm Standard Density plus 2. As all of the Clear Sky sect's disciples were killed, the Heaven Do Empire's camp was thrown into chaos. As all of the Clear Sky sect's disciples were killed, the system's notification sounded in Wang Kai's ears. And all of you, royalty of the Heaven Do Empire, die too. After this, Wang Kai waved his hand. The Snowy Night Emperor, who was watching the battle from behind the crowd, rose into the air and flew in front of him. Even someone as calm as the Snowy Night Emperor was so frightened that his limbs went numb after seeing what had happened to the Clear Sky sect's disciples. He couldn't help but pee in his pants. Lend me some of your blood. With a creepy smile, Wang Kai flicked his finger, and the Snowy Night Emperor's body suddenly exploded, turning into a ball of meat with blood, flesh, and internal organs mixed together. Your Majesty! His Majesty has passed away. How is this possible? The Heaven Do Empire's camp was thrown into chaos after the Snowy Night Emperor's death. Power of Karma, Bloodline Curse. Boundless karma power surged into the ball of flesh that the Snowy Night Emperor had transformed into, forming the most vicious bloodline curse. Bang! Bang! Several seconds later, lumps appeared on the bodies of the members of the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family. After that, the lumps exploded and turned their bodies into a bloody mess. They were completely annihilated. The culprits of the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family and the Clear Sky sect have been killed. Citizens of the Heaven Do Empire, surrender to the martial Soul Empire obediently, and we can let bygones be bygones. We can grant you the status of free citizens. If you refuse to repent, you will all be killed, along with your entire family. After exterminating the bloodline of the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family, Wang Kai turned around and loudly announced to the rest of the Heaven Do Empire's people. After witnessing the tragic fate of the Clear Sky sect and the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family, the rest of the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family knelt down and surrendered. Only a few hardliners and die-hard loyalists would rather die than surrender. Wang Kai didn't show any mercy. He activated the power of karma and killed them all. Following that, the Martial Soul Empire started to take over the Heaven Do Empire's territories and reorganize them. 2 weeks later, the Heaven Do Empire was completely conquered by the Martial Soul Palace. Ding! Congratulations on completing the 4th mission of the Cultivation of the World series. Conquer the Heaven Do Empire. Ding! Mission rewards. World Malice -6%, Origin Experience plus 600,000, Origin Points plus 6,000, Small Realm Area plus 600 square meters, Small Realm Standard Density plus 1. After the Heaven Do Empire was completely conquered by the Martial Soul Empire, a new mission for the cultivation of the world was completed. The system's notification sounded once again. At this point, the world's malice towards Wang Kai was only at 8%. After being weakened by the system, it was only at 4%. On the other hand, Wang Kai's control over the world had increased to 25%. He could extract more power from the world every day. This could provide Wang Kai with close to 20% of his divine root. After conquering the Heaven Do Empire, Wang Kai led the Martial Soul Empire's army to the Heaven Do Empire's city walls. After learning from his scouts that Wang Kai was making a big fuss in the Heaven Do Empire, Dai Outyan didn't dare to resist. He immediately opened the city walls and surrendered. He immediately announced that he was severing all ties with Dai Mubai. After that, he knelt down in front of Wang Kai and begged for forgiveness. After seeing his father-in-law like this, Wang Kai reluctantly let Dai Outyan off for Dai Qingli's sake. However, as punishment, Wang Kai still crippled Dai Outyan's cultivation. He turned from a peak-stage Dolua to a normal person. He couldn't cultivate for the rest of his life. Wang Kai didn't show any mercy to those in the Star Luo Empire who supported Dai Mubai. He killed them one by one. At the same time, he also killed Chen Wu and the Chen family, who had coveted Dai Qingli. On account of Dai Outyan's quick surrender, Wang Kai still gave him the title of Duke even though he crippled his cultivation. This way, he wouldn't have to live in such dire straits. As for the other families and organizations in the Star Luo Empire, they were all taken in by the Martial Soul Empire. A week later, due to Dai Outyan's cooperation, the Martial Soul Empire successfully took over the Star Luo Empire's territory. At this point, apart from the Sea God's Island, the Dolua continent had been unified by the Martial Soul Empire. Wang Kai also became the only emperor of the Dolua continent. Furthermore, Wang Kai also successfully completed his last mission. He also successfully broke through to become a rank 93 titled Dolu. Apart from that, Wang Kai had also completely eliminated the influence of the world's malice after completing the world martial arts distribution. He was no longer suppressed by the world, and his control over the world had reached 41%. He could harvest close to 70 points of God Source every day. Not only that, Wang Kai's soul power compression had reached 3.6, and his spiritual power compression had reached 2.3. His strength had also advanced from a perfect divine official to an early stage class 3 god. Finally, after killing the Sea God's divine sense, the God Refining Tower had also successfully refined it. The pure feedback provided Wang Kai with 1 point of divinity and 1 point of spirit. This was a new step for Wang Kai on his path to becoming a god. Wang Kai's strength hadn't reached its peak yet. In the previous battle, Wang Kai had accumulated close to 250,000 origin points. Once he used them, Wang Kai's strength would reach a new level. In addition, after becoming a level 3 god, Wang Kai no longer had to hide many secrets. He distributed all the soul bones he had obtained in the past to the women in his big family. He also prepared soul ring cleansing stones, adaptive soul rings, soul ring sublimation stones, and other tools for them to help them improve their strength. As the women used the tools that Wang Kai gave them to improve themselves, Wang Kai also entered the small plane and arrived in front of the god's martial soul advancement tower. Chapter 410. This time, Wang Kai's martial soul was his third god martial soul, the divine eye of creation. It was also Wang Kai's second most used martial soul. 100,000 origin points were placed into the God Martial Soul Evolution Tower. Countless mysterious energy surged out and wrapped Wang Kai in a large cocoon. Countless mysterious energy surged into Wang Kai's body and transformed Wang Kai's martial soul and physique. 3 days later. Very good, I've become stronger. After breaking out of the cocoon and feeling the various changes in his body, Wang Kai revealed a satisfied smile. Following the divine eye of creation's advancement from the first stage to the second stage, Wang Kai's overall strength had also increased significantly. Following that, Wang Kai spent another large sum of origin points to upgrade the Void Lightning Dragon Soul Bone set to 3 million years. After the upgrade, Wang Kai's attributes also increased further. His strength had finally reached the mid-stage of a Class 3 god. As for the upgraded Void Lightning Dragon Soul Bone set, after using the Void Lightning Dragon transformation, it could provide Wang Kai with the strength of a late-stage Class 3 god for 2 hours. The cooldown time was 1 day. After doing all this, Wang Kai still had 100,000 origin points left. Hence, Wang Kai was also prepared to upgrade his soul rings. As for the advancement of the remaining gods' martial souls, Wang Kai planned to advance them after he had obtained all of his soul rings, as he didn't use them often enough. In order to upgrade a 3 million year soul ring to a 4 million year soul ring, it was no longer possible to use an elementary million year soul ring sublimation stone. He had to use an intermediate million-year soul ring sublimation stone, and a single intermediate million-year soul ring sublimation stone cost 4,000 origin points in the system store. After using 76,000 origin points, Wang Kai also upgraded Emperor Shura and the Divine Eye of Creation's soul rings to 4 million years. At the same time, he also upgraded the Chaotic Mountain River Cauldron's power of Heaven and Earth soul skill to 4 million years. After doing all this, Wang Kai had used up all the origin points that he had painstakingly accumulated. Hence, after playing with the beautiful girls in his family for a while, he set off again and rushed to the Great Star Do Forest to kill soul beasts and continue upgrading. 2 months later. Die, human! How dare you come to the Great Star Do Forest to hunt soul beasts? Just as Wang Kai was enjoying himself, 2 enormous figures emerged from the depths of the forest. They were the 100,000-year sky azure bull python De Ming and the 100,000-year titan giant ape Air Ming. They were the protectors of the Great Star Do Forest. It's their honor to be able to become resources for my evolution. However, since you like to meddle in other people's business so much, please die obediently. With that said, Wang Kai activated his soul power, and 2 balls of destructive light swept towards the De Ming and De Ming. Gravity Control Domain. Slow Domain. De Ming and Air Ming also unleashed their soul skills in an attempt to resist the ball of light. Bang! Bang! De Ming and Air Ming reacted very quickly, but they were simply too weak. Even with their full power, they were unable to stop the destructive ball of light. The 2 destructive balls of light tore through De Ming and Air Ming's domains as if they were made of paper before exploding on their heads. Clang! Clang! 2 muffled booms sounded out as De Ming and Air Ming's heads exploded, and their wounds were charred black. Their headless corpses crashed heavily to the ground, kicking up clouds of dust. Wang Kai put away their corpses and continued his slaughter. Half a year later. I've finally become a peak Dolua. After half a year of killing, almost all of the soul beasts in the Great Star Do Forest had been wiped out by Wang Kai. As for Wang Kai's abilities, they had also increased, and he had become a late-stage Class 3 god. During this period of time, Wang Kai had accumulated a total of 500,000 origin points. Hence, Wang Kai had upgraded his martial soul and soul skills once more. Firstly, Wang Kai upgraded his chaotic mountain and river cauldron and his eternal and devouring dragon martial souls to second-grade divine martial souls, which cost him 200,000 origin point. Secondly, Wang Kai upgraded all of his Emperor Shura and Divine Eye of Creation soul skills to 5 million year soul skills, which cost him 72,000 origin point. Finally, Wang Kai upgraded all of his other soul skills to 4 million year soul skills, as well as his power of heaven and earth to 5 million year soul skills. After doing all of this, Wang Kai's origin points returned to 30,000, and his power had reached the pinnacle of the third-grade god level. At this point, almost all of the soul beasts in the Great Star Do Forest had been killed, leaving only the Skydream Iceworm, Tian, and Silver Dragon Queen, Yuna. Wang Kai was naturally going to hunt down Skydream and Tian, while Wang Kai was going to subdue Yuna and make her his slave. Wang Kai had always coveted the Silver Dragon Queen, and the feeling of taming a dragon knight would definitely be great. Only someone like Yuna could satisfy Wang Kai's powerful body. However, just as Wang Kai was about to enter the Great Star Do Forest's core region and kill Tian, Wang Kai made another discovery. Wang Kai discovered a strange soul beast somewhere near the Great Star Do Forest's core region. This soul master was shaped like a lion, and had golden fur all over his body. His entire body seemed to be made of translucent crystals, and was filled with a strange texture. However, this soul beast's claws were different. Its foreclaws were very similar to the claws of a legendary dragon. Beneath each of its claws was a ball of golden flames. Its mouth was also slightly longer than that of a lion-type soul beast, and beneath its fur, there were many fine golden scales growing out of it. Besides his normal eyes, there was a third eye with a vertical pupil on his forehead. His two normal eyes shone with a golden color, but this vertical pupil shone with a red color. It was a demonic red. Yes, this was the Emperor Beast, the three-eyed golden lion, and the golden dragon lady. In the original timeline, she was the beautiful young lady, Wang Qiu'er, 10,000 years after Tang San ascended. Not bad. Become my slave. Wang Qiu'er was an Emperor Beast, and her 1 year of cultivation was equivalent to 10 years of cultivation for other soul beasts. However, her cultivation was still too low, and Wang Kai didn't even knock her out. He used his spiritual power to forcefully enslave her. Your servant, Wang Qiu'er, greets master. Her figure shook, and she turned into a beautiful young lady with sky-blue hair, a pretty face, and a tall figure. Wang Qiu'er knelt down on one knee in front of Wang Kai and pledged her loyalty to Wang Kai. All right, Qiu'er, get up. Ro Yi, who was supporting Wang Qiu'er, helped her up, and Wang Kai kept her into his small plane. Tian, your time of death is here. After doing all this, Wang Kai didn't wait any longer. He ran straight into the depths of the Great Star Do Forest. Chapter 411. Tian, come out. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death. Wang Kai came to the front of the Lake of Life, and held the Shura god-slaying spear in his hand, as he shouted coldly. How dare you? Who dares to disturb Lord Tian's slumber? Following a furious dragon roar, a giant black gold dragon that was 100 meters long and exuded a terrifying aura flew out. It was the 800,000-year soul beast, the golden-eyed black dragon king, the beast god Tian. It doesn't matter who I am. However, since you like to sleep so much, I will fulfill your wish. From today onwards, you will fall into an eternal slumber. With that, Wang Kai held the Shura god-slaying spear and charged towards Tian. Human, how arrogant! Die! Hearing Wang Kai's words, Tian was furious. His dragon eyes flashed with anger as he waved his sharp dragon claws wildly and swept them towards Wang Kai. 10 minutes later. No, how is this possible? Although Tian had already burned his life force and unleashed 200% of his fighting strength, he was still beaten black and blue in front of Wang Kai. His body was full of wounds, and his blood dyed the surrounding 1,000 meters red. His life force was also extremely weak. Nothing is impossible. You are too weak, Tion. Don't worry and go. From now on, I will protect the Silver Dragon King. With that, Wang Kai's Shura God-slaying spear stabbed forward and pierced through Tion's brain. Countless amounts of Shura's murderous aura surged out, and in a breath's time, Tion's brain was completely pulverized and he was completely killed. A super soul beast, one of the 10 great murderers, the 800,000-year soul beast Tion, had fallen, just like that. Ding. Killed 800,000-year soul beast Tion. Obtained plus 3,700 divine roots, plus 370,000 origin experience. Ding. Detected remnants of divine matter. Will you use the God-refining tower to refine it? Of course. Following Wang Kai's words, Tion's huge dragon corpse was absorbed by the small plane and entered the God-refining tower to refine it. Silver Dragon King, come out. Looking at the Lake of Life, Wang Kai said coldly. Sigh. How do you know of my existence? With a sorrowful sigh, the surface of the Lake of Life broke open, and a beautiful silver-haired figure walked out. There wasn't a single drop of water on her body. This girl's temperament was incomparably moving, and her beauty was suffocating. Even the stars and the moon would be overshadowed by her. She was truly as beautiful as a fairy. Her long silver hair fluttered in the wind, and her white dress accentuated her body proportions. Every curve was perfect, and she exuded a pure aura. Her exquisite facial features were flawless, and her beautiful purple eyes were filled with an alluring figure. She was just like a fairy princess. Not only that, but this young girl's temperament was also extremely beautiful. She was fresh, refined, and otherworldly. She had a kind of beauty that was noble to the extreme. She was incomparably cold, causing ordinary people to be intimidated and not dare to look at her directly. That's right, this young woman was the legendary Silver Dragon King, Gu Yuna. She was known as the most beautiful woman on the Dolua continent. Why would I know of your existence? This is a secret. However, Silver Dragon King, Gu Yuna, become my wife. Wang Kai said with a smile as he looked at Gu Yuna. Become your wife? Human, you're delusional. After hearing Wang Kai's words, Gu Yuna's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of hatred, and her aura continued to rise. Humph, you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Since you're unwilling to become my wife obediently, I can only defeat you and make you my slave. Wang Kai naturally knew that the proud Gu Yuna would definitely not agree to him. Hence, he smiled sinisterly and waved Shura's god-slaying spear, going straight for Gu Yuna. Human, go to hell. Looking at Wang Kai and sensing the familiar yet somewhat unfamiliar aura on Shura's god-slaying spear, the hatred in Gu Yuna's eyes became even stronger. She waved the silver dragon spear in her hand and attacked Wang Kai crazily. Ding ding dang dang. In the blink of an eye, Wang Kai and Gu Yuna had fought nearly 100 rounds. Although Gu Yuna was once a first-tier god, she had not recovered from her serious injuries. Even if she attacked with all her might, she only had the strength of a mid-tier third-tier god. She was quickly suppressed by Wang Kai. As the battle progressed, the injuries in Gu Yuna's body acted up again. Her strength became weaker and weaker. In the end, Wang Kai swept his spear across her forehead and knocked her unconscious. That's right. From now on, you're my slave, Gu Yuna. Activating the Great Enslavement spell, Wang Kai also planted his own seed of enslavement in Gu Yuna's mind. Then, he summoned a large amount of life force to help Gu Yuna recover her body. Your slave, Gu Yuna, greets Master. Your slave has offended Master before. Please don't take it to heart. After waking up, Gu Yuna's face was full of respect. She half knelt in front of Wang Kai and spoke humbly. Alright, get up. Gu Yuna, you don't have to call me Master in the future. Just call me Lord Husband. Looking at Gu Yuna, Wang Kai could not bear to treat her as a slave. Thus, he instructed her. Yes, I understand, Lord Husband. Looking at the obedient Gu Yuna, Wang Kai laughed heartily and kissed her beautiful face. Then, he activated the life force and summoned a large amount of life force to help her recover her body. However, Wang Kai's current strength was still too weak compared to God King Shura. It was not enough to remove the injuries that God King Shura had left on Gu Yuna. However, under the treatment of the life force, Gu Yuna's complexion was much better. Her temperament was also more beautiful and moving. Facing such a beautiful and adorable Gu Yuna, Wang Kai was also very satisfied. However, he was not an impatient person. He did not immediately try to become a dragon knight. Instead, under Gu Yuna's lead, they went deep into the Lake of Life. At the bottom of the Lake of Life, the million-year soul beast, the Skydream Ice Worm, was imprisoned there for Gu Yuna and Di Tian to absorb and cultivate. Wang Kai naturally would not let go of such a million-year soul beast. Even at his peak, the Skydream Ice Worm was not as strong as a peak Dolu. Furthermore, he was imprisoned by Gu Yuna and Di Tian. Wang Kai walked in front of the Skydream Ice Worm. Then, he unleashed Shura's murderous aura and killed him. Ding! You have killed the million-year soul beast, Skydream. You have obtained plus 5,100 divine origins. You have obtained plus 510,000 origin experience. Ding! You have sensed remnants of divine matter. Will you use the God-refining tower to refine it? Of course. Following Wang Kai's words, the Skydream Iceworm's corpse was absorbed by the small plane. Then, it entered the God-refining tower and started to be refined. After Wang Kai killed the Skydream Iceworm, his rank finally broke through again. He broke through from a rank 95 peak Dolua to a rank 96 titled Dolu. Furthermore, he was only 2,200 divine origins away from his next advancement. His origin points had also reached 900,000. Chapter 412. 900,000 origin points. That's too generous. It's almost enough for me to upgrade my God's martial soul to rank 3. Looking at the number of origin points he had, Wang Kai could not help but reveal a smile at the corners of his mouth. Next, I'll absorb and refine the Lake of Life. After that, Wang Kai turned his gaze to the Lake of Life in front of him. The water of the Lake of Life was also a high-tier heavenly treasure. It was at least heaven rank 8 and contained a large amount of energy. It could be refined into a huge amount of God source. He definitely couldn't miss it. Following Wang Kai's thoughts, the endless Lake of Life was absorbed and refined by the super furnace. It was converted into God source, and Wang Kai's experience points increased rapidly. 2 days later. Ding! Refining the Lake of Life. Obtained God Source plus 4,100. Ding! You have 7,820 God Source. Spent 6,000 God Source to advance to rank 97 peak Dolu. Current experience points. 18207000. God Source. The system's notification sounded again. Waves of evolution power came from the depths of his body. Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction. At this moment, the God-refining tower had finished refining Di Tian and the Skydream Iceworm. Di Tian's corpse provided Wang Kai with 6 divinity, 3 God's body conversion rate, 1 God's soul, and 2 God's fire. On the other hand, the Skydream Iceworm's corpse provided Wang Kai with 7 divinity, 2 God's body conversion rate, 5 God's soul, and 1 God's fire. At this point, Wang Kai already had 14 divinity, 5% God's body conversion rate, 7% God's soul conversion rate, and 3 God's fire. He had taken an important step on the path to becoming a god. However, his fighting strength hadn't broken through yet. He was still at the peak of rank 3. I'll go and kill Tang Chen now. If he wanted to obtain origin experience, the best way was naturally to kill, especially those who were strong. With a thought, Wang Kai left the Great Star Do Forest, where almost all of the high-level soul beasts had been killed, and headed towards the capital of Massacre. It had been 2 years since Wang Kai had left Massacre City. Compared to when Wang Kai had left, there were far fewer residents in Massacre City. Without a doubt, this was due to the Blue Velvet. Just as Wang Kai stepped into the territory of the City of Massacres, an enraged bellow rang out, "Thief! What on earth did you do to Shura's blood sea? Why is it that ever since you entered Hell's Road, the residents of Massacre City have been poisoned to death?" Accompanied by this roar, a tall black figure charged out and headed straight for Wang Kai. It was the king of Massacre, Tang Chen. "What did you do?" "I just threw a poisonous grass inside. However, you dared to roar at me. How disrespectful. Use your life to pay for your sins." Looking at Tang Chen, Wang Kai's eyes flashed with a scorching light. Then, he stabbed with his spear. Tang Chen also activated the power of Massacre, summoned the blood-colored clear sky hammer, and fought with Wang Kai. Although Tang Chen had already broken through the boundary of the exceptional Doluo, his cultivation had reached the level of a quasi-god, and his strength was comparable to a great perfection divine throne. Tang Chen's strength was still too weak compared to Wang Kai, who was a great perfection rank 3 god. After just over 10 rounds, Wang Kai brazenly stabbed with his spear and directly pierced through Tang Chen's heart. The huge amount of Shura's murderous aura surged out and completely destroyed the life force in Tang Chen's body. In the last few seconds of his life, Tang Chen's eyes suddenly regained a trace of clarity. He spat out 2 words vaguely, and then his consciousness fell into an eternal slumber. The super strong of a generation, the exceptional Doluo, the king of Massacre, Tang Chen, had fallen. Ding. Killed the quasi-god expert Tang Chen. Obtained plus 5,500 god sources. Plus 550,000 source points. Current god sources. 7,420. Required 7,000 god sources to upgrade. Spent 7,000 god sources to successfully advance to a level 98 peak Dolu. Current experience points. 420,8000 god sources. After killing Tang Chen, Wang Kai's realm also broke through again, and he became a level 98 peak Dolu. His strength had also finally broken through to the great perfection rank 3 god, and his source points had reached 1,450,000. Ding. Detected the remnants of divine matter. Do you want to use the God Refining Tower to refine it? Of course. Following Wang Kai's words, Tang Chen's corpse was absorbed by the small plane and entered the God Refining Tower to start refining. As for the City of Massacre, destroy it. As the inheritance of the god Shura in the human world, Wang Kai naturally would not hold back. Instead, he crazily gathered soul power. The soul ring behind him flashed, and a large ball of destructive light that contained a terrifying destructive power condensed and then shot toward the City of Massacre. Boom! Following an earth-shattering explosion, the City of Massacre that had stood on the Doluo continent for 10,000 years finally welcomed the end of its lifespan. It collapsed in the explosion, and was buried underground forever along with the Hell Road and Shura's Sea of Blood. God Realm. Damn it. My land of inheritance has been destroyed. In the conference hall of the God Realm's God Kings, God King Shura also sensed something and said coldly, "Is it that anomaly, the Wang Kai that the Sea God reported a few days ago? Is it Shura?" The evil God King asked. "That's right. I only hope that the Shrek's 7 monsters that we nurtured can kill Wang Kai. Otherwise, we can only send our incarnations down to the mortal world. The price for that is too great." That's right. Divine thoughts conversed one after another, and they were all helpless. There's also the deep-sea demon Whale King. As long as we kill it, not only can we obtain a huge amount of experience points, but we can also block Tang San's path to becoming a god. With a thought, Wang Kai left the City of Massacre and rushed to the Sea God's Island to find the deep-sea monster Whale King. This was a huge soul beast that was several kilometers long and emitted a terrifying demonic aura. At this time, the deep-sea monster whale king had not been killed by Tang San yet. Deep-sea monster whale king, become the resource for my evolution. Looking at the deep-sea monster whale king under the sea, Wang Kai said coldly. Human, arrogant, die. Accompanied by the deep-sea monster whale king's roar, endless waves and tornadoes appeared on the surface of the sea and attacked Wang Kai crazily. At the same time, it opened its mouth and shot 100-meter-thick water droplet at Wang Kai, wanting to tear Wang Kai to shreds. That's it? You're too weak. Urging his soul power, Shura shot out a world extermination finger, and all the attacks launched by the deep-sea monster whale king were instantly destroyed. Then, Shura's world extermination finger directly touched the deep-sea monster whale king's forehead. No! Accompanied by a mournful scream, a 20-meter-long hole appeared on the deep-sea monster whale king's body. It pierced through its forehead and came out from its tail, directly penetrating its body. Under the erosion of Shura's baleful aura, this huge hole expanded at a speed visible to the naked eye, completely swallowing the deep-sea monster whale king's life force. Yes, the deep-sea monster whale king was a 990,000-year soul beast. It was only a step away from becoming a million-year soul beast, and its strength was comparable to a divine official. However, in front of Wang Kai, who was a perfect grade 3 god, it was completely insufficient. A 990,000-year soul beast, the deep-sea monster whale king, died under Wang Kai's hands. Chapter 413. You have killed the million-year soul beast, deep-sea magic whale king. Obtained plus 6,400 god sources, plus 640,000 origin experience. Ding. You have detected remnants of divinity. Would you like to use the smelting god tower to refine it? Of course. As Wang Kai nodded in agreement, the deep-sea magic whale king's enormous body was instantly compressed by a mysterious force and was immediately absorbed by the smelting god tower. It began to be refined into resources for Wang Kai to evolve into a god. I still need 2,000 origin experience. Let's start with these sea soul beasts. With a thought, Wang Kai released his soul skill and crazily slaughtered the surrounding sea soul beast. As Wang Kai moved forward, the sea within a few hundred kilometers was dyed red. At the same time, Tang San had also begun the 9th test of the sea god's 9 tests. Originally, according to the requirements of the test, Tang San needed to kill the deep-sea magic whale king for the 9th soul ring. However, he helplessly found that the deep-sea magic whale king had already been killed. He had no choice but to sacrifice Little White to become the 9th soul ring, allowing Wang Kai to embark on the path of a god. At the same time, the rest of Shrek's 6 monsters were also undergoing the god's test. Furthermore, they had already passed the 9th test and were only one step away from becoming a god. 3 days later. Ding. You now have 9,011 god sources. Upgrade requires 9,000 god sources. Spend 9,000 god sources to advance to a peerless Dolu. For the remaining 11 god sources, please condense divinity, divine body, divine soul, and divine fire to advance to a 3rd grade god. The sound of the system notification rang out, and an extremely vast amount of energy gushed out, strengthening Wang Kai's body and allowing him to advance into the realm of an exceptional Dolu. His strength had also finally broken through, and he had advanced into an early stage 2nd grade god. At the same time, Tang Chen and the deep-sea magic whale king's corpses were also refined. Tang Chen's corpse provided Wang Kai with 11 divinity, 7% divine body transformation, 4% divine soul transformation, and 2 divine fire. The deep-sea magic whale king's corpse provided Wang Kai with 8 divinity, 8% divine body transformation, 3% divine soul transformation, and 3 divine fire. At this point, Wang Kai already had 33 points of divinity. His divine body conversion rate had reached 20%, His divine soul conversion rate had reached 14%, and his divine fire had reached 8 points. We can go to the sea god's island now. Even if a god were to send a clone, they would only be able to send a third-rank god clone. On the Doloa continent, I'm basically invincible. With a faint smile, Wang Kai circulated his soul power and shot out like a rocket towards the Sea God's Island. Sea God's Island is a restricted area. Trespassers are prohibited from entering. As Wang Kai neared Sea God's Island, a blue-haired beauty appeared. She held the Sea God's scepter, and she radiated a powerful aura. It was the high priest of Sea God's Island, Poseidon. However, Poseidon did not have a physical body at this time. She appeared in the form of a soul, but her aura was not weak at all. Under the support of the mysterious power of the Sea God's Island, she faintly revealed the power of a third-rank god. At this time, Tang San's god test had reached the most critical moment. Moreover, Tang San had not only inherited the sea god's divine throne, but also the sea god Shura, the divine king of the sea. At this time, Poseidon had appeared to delay Wang Kai so that Tang San could smoothly pass the test. Burning your soul? How respectable! Unfortunately, your strength is still too weak. If Wang Kai's strength was still at the level of a third-rank god, then with the support of the Sea God's Island and the home ground advantage, Wang Kai would be able to delay for a long time. Unfortunately, Wang Kai's strength had already broken through to the level of a second-rank god. Wielding the Azura god-slaying spear, Wang Kai had put Poseidon at an absolute disadvantage. In less than 10 moves, Wang Kai thrust his spear forward, piercing through Poseidon's chest and killing her. No. Great Sea God, Your Majesty, I have failed to live up to your expectations. Poseidon's soul gradually became illusory, turning into specks of particles that drifted away with the wind. Killed Poseidon. Obtained Divine Origin plus 3000, Origin Experience plus 300. Ding. Divine Matter Remnant detected. Will you use the Smelting God Tower to refine it? Of course. Following Wang Kai's words, Poseidon's remnant soul was instantly absorbed by the Smelting God Tower and refined. As Poseidon was only a soul, the divine origin she provided was not much, but it was not little either. After that, Wang Kai once again charged towards the Sea God's Island. Mortal, stop. At this moment, a sigh suddenly sounded. On the Sea God's altar in the middle of the Sea God's Island, there was a sudden burst of terrifying light. Following that, a white-haired old man who was over 100 meters tall and shone with a holy aura descended. It was a first-rank god, the Sea God. Sea God, you actually sent a doppelganger? That's great. Become my resources for evolution. Looking at the Sea God, Wang Kai was not afraid at all. Due to the restrictions of the Doloa continent's laws, gods could not descend with their true bodies. They could only send the strongest third-rank god doppelganger. They were no match for Wang Kai at all. Mortal, how arrogant! How dare you offend my divine sense, kill my high priest, and attack my inheritor? Today, you will use your life to atone for your sins. Looking at Wang Kai, the sea god's eyes flashed with fury. With a wave of his hand, endless seawater surged into the sea god's hand, forming a giant trident that was completely made of seawater and shone with a golden light. If it was your true body, you would have the right to say such words. However, this is only your doppelganger. The one who will die is you. After hearing the sea god's words, Wang Kai only revealed a mocking smile. His body suddenly expanded to 100 meters, then he waved the Shura god-slaying spear and went straight for the sea god. Due to the restrictions of the world, the sea god's doppelganger was only at the level of a third-rank god. With the help of the sea god's island and the home ground advantage, the sea god's combat strength was only at the level of a third-rank god. It was far from Wang Kai's level. Ding ding dang dang. Seeing Wang Kai attack, the sea god was not to be outdone. He waved the trident in his hand and fought with Wang Kai. In the blink of an eye, Wang Kai and the sea god had fought for a few rounds. Go to hell. In the beginning, the sea god could barely contend with Wang Kai due to his rich combat experience. However, as he fought with the sea god, Wang Kai's Emperor Shura bloodline was constantly activated. The more he fought, the stronger he became. In the end, Wang Kai's spear was like a dragon and pierced through the sea god's chest. Divine blood splattered, and he was killed. Impossible, you're only a mortal. Is this the power of an anomaly? With a murmur, the sea god's doppelganger was killed. Killed the sea god's doppelganger. Obtained divine sources plus 45,000, origin experience plus 450,000. Ding. Detected remnants of divine matter. Will you use the smelting god tower to refine it? Of course. With Wang Kai's thought, the sea god's body was instantly absorbed by the smelting god tower and started refining it.